Young of the San Francisco 49ers earns its trip again by finishing the season as the NFL's leading passer. Patriots quarterback Drew Bledsoe is liking February in Hawaii a whole lot better than a New England winter. And Bruce Smith comes to Honolulu after being voted to the Pro Bowl for the 10th time in his great career. It's 85 degrees and sunny in the 50th state, and the best players in the NFL are going to play a little more football. It's the AFC's All-Stars against the NFC's best. In the most fun game of the season, the Pro Bowl. Temperature in the high 70s going into the 80s. The surf is up on the North Shore and the beaches of Waikiki. A perfect setting for the final game of the NFL football season, the annual Pro Bowl game. Aloha Stadium is sold out. They love the Pro Bowl here in Hawaii. I'm Frank Gifford along with Al Michaels and Dan Deerdorf. We're always glad to be back in Hawaii. But all of a sudden, these guys have had a week of fun and a lot of laughs. They've partied a lot with their family and friends. Now, all of a sudden, it's reality time. They have to put on the helmet, and they got to go out there and actually play this football game. One thing that they all have, as well as talent, and that is a lot of pride and a lot of ego. And, Al, that can often make for a really good football game. They've made a lot of new friends today. Many of them had not even met each other, but, I mean, this week, and now all of a sudden they've got to play this game, and sometimes it can really get interesting.
Sunday's a different story. They have a lot of fun during the week. In fact, Warren Sapp of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the defensive lineman and emerging star, had so much fun this week he decided to move up his wedding date and got married on Thursday. And speaking of the Bucs, they are one of the key stories in the game because the Pro Bowl year after year is a bit of a coming out party for individuals, sort of a debutante ball. This year, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a team that had been in existence 21 seasons prior to this one. In those 21 years, they had sent 9 separate individuals total to the Pro Bowl. This year alone, they are represented by 8 players, including quarterback Trent Dilfer and the only rookie in the game, Warrick Dunn. So we'll see the Buccaneers. We'll see Terrell Davis coming off the MVP performance last week, Barry Sanders, Steve Young, and the rest. And Dan, it's funny. You talk about a fun week, and they have a lot of fun. And then all of a sudden, you get to Sunday, and you think back to last year and the competitive aspect. The game went 8 minutes into overtime.
It started about 3 days ago, Al, and you're right. As Frank touched upon it, it's a lot of fun this week. You get to meet people you haven't met, and you admire because they're competitors, and these guys are, and they really appreciate the efforts that the other guys put forth. But then about Friday, it starts to dawn on you that you have to play a football game, and football is a sport that can only be played full speed. There is no way to go at this with any kind of a halfway effort. And as the game gets closer, the guys get a little more tense. They're all anxious to get this thing started. There'll be hard hitting. The guys will run hard, and they're out. They know they're on national television. They do have pride. They do have egos. The Pro Bowl starts off as a social experience, and it always ends up being a very hard-fought football game. We'll be back for the kickoff, as always, this game in spectacular Hawaii.
The Pro Bowl with the AFC in the red jerseys to kick off. Mike Hollis of the Jacksonville Jaguars to kick. Travis Jervey is the NFC special teamer. Each conference can select one special teamer, and one return specialist is selected for the Pro Bowl, and that will be Michael Bates of the Carolina Panthers, who averaged more than 27 yards per kick-off return this season. Hollis, the place kicker for the AFC, and his cohort, Brian Barker, is the punter. So both kicking specialists from the American Conference from the Jaguars. And we're underway before a full house at Aloha Stadium. It is taken by Bates at the 5-yard line. And the Olympic sprinter up past the 30 to the 32-yard line, taken down there by the Raven linebacker, Ray Lewis. And Steve Young gets the start. Young was actually selected as the backup quarterback, but Brett Favre is not here. Favre of the Packers, Young of the 49ers. 6-time he has led the league in pass rating. Barry Sanders and Dorsey Levens in the backfield. Carter and Moore the wideouts. Walls is the tight end. We'll look at the line in a moment from the 31-yard line. Young on first down throws, and it's broken up at the 35, intended for Herman Moore, and Aaron Glenn of the Jets was there to break it up. Offensive line for the NFC. Rolfe of the Saints, Larry Allen of the Cowboys, Glover of the Lions, McDaniel of the Vikings, and Stussy of the Vikings. So the Minnesota offense, represented by the right guard and a right tackle. Stussy is a free agent, an unrestricted free agent, eligible to sign with anyone as of the 13th of February. We'll get into the guys who are the unrestricted free agents throughout the course. Handles it for the first time and takes it to the 35-yard line for a gain of 4. It'll be 3rd down and 6. Let's look at the AFC defensive alignment. Bookended by the Smiths, Bruce and Neal. Joel Steed, the great nose tackle for Pittsburgh, and Ted Washington work the inside. Bryce Popp of the Bills, Kirkland of the Steelers, Slade of the Pats are the linebackers. The corners, Carter and Glenn, and the safeties, Lake and Williams. Neil Smith of the champion Broncos, ready for the pass rush on 3rd down and 6. Young escaping to his right, seeking the first down, and steps out of bounds at the 42. Needed 6, picked up 7, and a first down for the NFC.
What we will not be seeing today is a lot of blitzing that has kind of taken over the National Football League over the past couple of years. The rules are rather explicit about what you can do defensively. It makes it very easy for the defensive team, and they have dominated against the passing attack of the offenses over the years because of that. But they have to play a straight 4-3. They can use a zone with the zone rolling into the flat. And there are some of them, no blitzing by linebackers. You can have line stunts, so Dan, that does help.
And offensively, to help offset that, they're not allowed to shift or to have any motion. So it's a very basic offensive formation with a tight end in there at all times.
On 1st down, it is caught at the 49 by Wesley Walls of the Carolina Panthers. Walls a one-time 49er, so that is not the first time that Young and Walls have made a connection.
One last thought about that defense. It's so much easier for the defensive team to prepare here in the Pro Bowl. It's so much more difficult for the offense to be put in. And the 27 previous Pro Bowls, there have been 61 touchdown passes and 91 interceptions. Those 94 interceptions. So that just goes to show you. I mean, it's so much easier to put the defense in.
2nd and 1. Barry Sanders finds a hole through the middle, and with that eel-like move, takes it to the 44 and a first down, tackled by Carnell Lake. Perfect afternoon in Honolulu. The temperature is 79. And on the North Shore, you've probably been reading about the waves. Today, 15 to 20-foot waves. Earlier this week, 40-foot waves. Highest in 28 years.
You did there, Al. Were you ever out on those waves?
On the 3-footers. On the leeward side. This is Mike Allstott of the Buccaneers to the 40-yard line for a gain of 4. And let's get our first report of the day from the sidelines in Lynn Swan. Lynn.
Well, Al, this is a Pro Bowl, and the best players in the NFL like to watch each other. And there are 3 guys over my shoulder, Bettis, Davis, and George, and they're all looking at Barry Sanders, and they're watching every little move he makes, just admiring. All that wiggle, Jerome? He's got a lot of wiggle. 2,000 yards worth.
All right, Lynn.
Somebody we like to watch, too.
Love to watch. Yeah, 2nd down and 6. Young, after the pump fake, gets hit by Chester McLaughlin. And McLaughlin had him wrapped up. Gary Lane blew the whistle. Grasp and control. And I guess that's one concession a defensive lineman will make in the Pro Bowl.
Well, you see Chester just blows to the inside and splits Larry Allen at right guard and Kevin Glover at center. And see, right now, the attitudes of Kevin Glover and Larry Allen have changed because they have to walk back to the huddle realizing their guys sacked the quarterback. They're upset about it. They are not the least bit happy, and I can guarantee you their play right now is getting ready to elevate.
3rd down and 11. Young fires, and it's caught. Great catch by Wesley Walls. Inside the 25 to the 23-yard line, the Carolina Panther tight end tackled by Derek Thomas after a 21-yard pickup.
A great catch, Al, but also a great throw by Steve Young. Derek Thomas had perfect position. He dropped from the linebacker position, number 58. And watch, this ball was put where only Wesley Walls could get it. Terrific throw and a great catch. Ball's a big year once again. 58 receptions for Carolina.
From the 24-yard line, back to the ground they go. Sanders swinging to the outside, but no room as he gets corralled by Derek Thomas and Carnell Lake at about the line of scrimmage. The coaching staffs are provided by the teams that lost the conference championship games. Thus, Steve Mariucci and the 49ers staff are here for the NFC, and Bill Cowher and the Pittsburgh staff coaching the AFC.
Bill had a really cute story yesterday about one of his kids who was more excited about coming to Hawaii, really glad that they lost the conference championship. He said, I'd rather go to Hawaii than go to San Diego. An opinion not shared by his father.
Second down and 10.
It's kind of a bittersweet experience for these coaching staffs because they know they were within one game of going to the Super Bowl, and while this is a very nice reward, it is not the equal of taking your team to the NFL championship game.
Way to ease the pain somewhat, because there is a lot of pain when you come that close.
And for Cowher, it's the second time he has been here now in the last 4 years. You recall he lost the championship game to San Diego in '94, then got to the Super Bowl. And then he was back here again. 11th play of the drive coming up on 3rd down and 7. Young going for 6, and it's caught in the end zone by Herman Moore. And the NFC moves all the way down the field, and in 5 minutes and 35 seconds, they culminated with a 22-yard touchdown pass. Young to the Lions, Herman Moore.
Well, when you can't do many things on defense, you end up with a man-for-man situation. James Hasty against Herman Moore. A lot of time for Steve Young. Almost impossible to stop that pass. Top of your screen, that's Hasty, number 40, with a good move to the outside by Herman Moore. Steve Young, with all the time in the world to sit there and let it develop, fires it in, a perfect strike.
Well, you're right about all the time, Frank. That was a double move by Herman Moore. It was the move to the outside that froze Hasty, and pretty impressive drive here for the NFC to get this thing underway. Pretty strong.
Jason Hansen of the Lions boots it through out of the hold of John Lynch. And the NFC takes it all the way down the field on the opening drive. All of the points accounted for by Detroit Lions. Moore and Hansen. 7-0 NFC.
By Ford F-Series. The best-selling trucks are built Ford tough. AT&T, it's all within your reach. Circuit City, answers in every department, low prices all over the store. And Miller Lite, now official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Herman Moore of the Lions, again in triple figures in receptions this season.
3 consecutive years now for Herman Moore, over 100 receptions, 8 touchdowns. Big year.
Leading Detroit into the playoffs and scoring the initial touchdown of the Pro Bowl today. Larry Wiggum is the special teams representative for the AFC, who's also a defensive back, so they can utilize him in a dual role for the New England Patriots. And Jason Hansen of the Detroit Lions to kick off. The return specialist for the AFC is Eric Metcalf of the San Diego Chargers. Metcalf, 9th year in the league, and it's his 3rd Pro Bowl.
Son of a former teammate of yours, Dan. Terry.
His father was one of the most elusive runners this league has ever seen, and Eric looks just like him on the field.
Ground ball. Look out with it as it rolls to the 2-yard line.
Daddy wouldn't like that.
No. And the NFC all over him as Travis Derby is down there to make the tackle. And so the AFC will start from its 8 with Mark Brunell at the helm, and the NFC out on top early in the Pro Bowl. And on a little 7-zip. In the Pro Bowl, but he is not here. He has skipped the game, and thus Mark Brunell of the Jaguars will start. And Brunell last year played well enough in this game to be the game MVP as the AFC won it in overtime. Terrell Davis and Jerome Bettis in the backfield. Brown and Thigpen of the wideouts, and Shannon Sharp of the champion Broncos at tight end. Baselli of the Jaguars, Brown of the Bills, Dawson of the Steelers, Shields of Kansas City, and Ogden of the Ravens, the interior 5 for the AFC.
What's unusual about that, the 2 running backs with Davis and Bettis, both of these guys are used to operating with a solid blocking fullback in their backfield. Now they're, at least to start this game, have to block for one another, something I don't think either one of them look forward to doing.
Each conference names 4 running backs, including 1 pure fullback. But the top 2 backs get the ball, and a little trickery and deceit on the opening play. But Tim Brown is stopped at just about the line of scrimmage. No gain. Let's take a look now at the NFC defensive line. Strahan of the Giants, Stubblefield of the Niners, Randall of the Vikings, Dolman of the 49ers, and then you've got Armstead of the Giants, Nickerson of Tampa Bay, and Brooks, his teammate. Green, Darrell Green at 38 at the corner, Williams of Arizona, Butler of the Packers, and Hanks of the 49ers are the safeties. Back at the 6-yard line. Second down and 11 as Brunel throws, and it's a little too high for a Yancey Thigpen, who was double covered on the play. And let's get our first update from Leslie Visser. Welcome, Leslie.
Hey, Al. Hey, guys. Well, he had almost 1,300 yards receiving. He just added 22 more. Herman, tell us about that play.
Oh, it was just a special play. It's a double move called Dino. We've been throwing that pass to perfection all week. I learned actually to move from Chris Carter. He was showing me how to do it because he runs it quite a bit, and it worked. I mean, it was so wide open. It's just a matter of catching it.
It's not a play you have in your system, but it's pretty good to catch a ball from Steve Young.
Oh, yeah, it feels great. I mean, you know, anytime you can get out here and play with the caliber players that we play with here, I mean, it's a great thing to be at.
Well, so far, so good. Thanks a lot. Back to you, Al.
All right, thank you, Leslie. Third down and 11. Gary Lane is the referee, and we have the first flag of the game.
Boy, I bet Dennis Green back in Minneapolis is really thankful that Chris Carter is showing moves to Herman Moore, competitor over in Detroit in the same division.
Well, that happens in this game, too. And then all of a sudden, as you pointed out, Dan, a little later in the game, when maybe it begins to get on the line, like we had last year, wound up in overtime, it gets a little competitive. They get a little feisty with each other.
You hit it, I'll give you a
Things all week, but it starts to change dramatically through the course of this game.
Well, I think you used the word pride, Frank, and that's certainly, you don't attain this sort of a level of performance without it, and it surfaces.
After the penalty, third down and 13 for the AFC from the 3-yard line. And Brunel, the mirror image in the way of Young throws. Fingertip catch made by Tim Brown. Up at the 39-yard line, a bright light in an otherwise dismal Raider season. Tim Brown, now the Raiders' all-time leading receiver, a 35-yard pickup.
And again, all the time in the world for Mark Brunel, no way you can have any defensive stunts. A straight 4-man rush. The line can stunt a little bit, but these offensive linemen, they love this kind of blocking. They are not going to be fooled at all. They gave Brunel all the time in the world, gave Tim Brown plenty of time to get away from his defender, Darrell Green. Completion close to midfield.
From the 39-yard line, on the ground now, swinging to the outside. The Super Bowl MVP, Terrell Davis, picking up where he left off last Sunday. An 11-yard gain tackled by Armstead and a first down. Davis in his third year out of Georgia. His story, of course, well known now. 6th-round pick, overlooked by several teams, obviously, who had the chance to select him, and now in his second Pro Bowl and second of, who knows, 10 or 12.
Who knows? It's right, Al. And the one thing we keep talking about Terrell Davis is how he runs so big that for a man that weighs 210 pounds, he delivers a blow more like a guy that weighs 230.
Here he is again, and Davis is able to pick up about 4 to the 45, tripped by Dana Stubblefield of the 49ers.
Frank, who's the last guy that comes to mind that at that size, you know, landed at the line of scrimmage with such impact with a tackle?
Well, I don't know, Dan. We've talked about it all year long. He's just enormous when he explodes into a tackler, and yet he can skip to the sidelines, and he has good speed, at least a good burst. I don't know. He's unique as far as I'm concerned. I've never seen a player that small play that big.
2nd and 6. They give it to him again. I figure he's the guy in best shape of all to the 44. With Davis playing last week, the Broncos and the Packers are in very good condition, but you keep forgetting that for some of these guys, they have not played a football game in 5 weeks.
And I can tell you exactly what that feels like, because that was always my routine before coming to this game. We wouldn't make the playoffs. I would always end up having to play across from L.C. Greenwood or Joe Green or somebody who just came from the Steelers in the Super Bowl. And you're right, they were in great shape, and I was not.
It's a long layoff, too. I had a few of them myself.
You're rusty. 3rd down and 5, and it's incomplete at the 38-yard line. Yancey Thigpen, the intended receiver, covered by the ageless wonder, Darrell Green, and it will be 4th down and 5. Here's the Home Depot coach's fact. Bill Cowher, at the age of 40, younger than one of his players in today's game. Warren Moon, older than his coach at 41.
Of course, his counterpart on the other sideline, not exactly an old man himself in Steve Mariucci.
Hey, Gary.
At 42. Well, the youngest coach in the league is now John Gruden of the Raiders at 34. And the second youngest would be Jeff Fisher of the Oilers. Barker to punt. And this is Warwick Dunn with a flag thrown.
Well, that's a Pro Bowl punt.
AFC indicating it should be a holding call. Gary Lane, who draws this assignment, will tell us in a moment. And there is the 41-year-old Warren Moon, ineligible man downfield. And That's a penalty that's not uncommon in a Pro Bowl. You're dealing with special teams.
Illegally downfield on the kicking team, number 55. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 4th down.
Special teams performers who normally don't play on special teams.
Yeah, they come over here for the first time and they say, what, me on special teams? I don't do that. They do it here.
There's nothing that takes place all week that draws more attention in a hurry as when they post the list on the locker room wall of who is going to be on what special team, who's going to be on punt coverage, who's going to be on kickoff coverage. Those are the 2 units that nobody wants to be on. You don't mind being a blocker on a return unit, but covering these things are something these guys aren't used to.
Warwick Dunn back to receive. Even though Michael Bates was voted the return specialist, Bates just back on kickoffs. They can use Dunn on punt returns. Warwick fields it at the end. Wishes he had Larry Wiggum, and that's why they named one special teams performer, and there he is. Larry Wiggum of the Patriots is the AFC special teams rep, and showed you why he got the vote right there. NFC has it back. Steve Young, and the NFC begins from the 7-yard line. Drive number 2, and that's knocked down. The pass knocked down by James Hasty, intended for Chris Carter, and a new Hall of Famer is here today with Leslie Visser. Leslie.
Well, one of the 5 men elected to the Hall of Fame, the center fielder in the Vikings secondary, Paul Krause. Paul, congratulations to you. Your 81 interceptions, no one is even close. Do you think that record might stand forever?
Well, Leslie, thank you, first of all, for your congratulations. It's just been fantastic being announced for the Hall of Fame. The interception record, I hope it's not broken. It'll take somebody a long time to break it if they do break it.
Well, Bud Grant told you never get beat deep. Wasn't that his advice?
Yes. About the first day I was traded to Minnesota, he told me we have a great front four. Just never get beat deep. Don't give up the long pass or the quick touchdown. And that's the way we play defense.
Do you think this might open it up for other Vikings?
Well, we hope so. We have Carl Eller and Mick Tingelhoff and Ron Yeri. They all should be nominated to the Hall of Fame.
A lot of greats. Well, congratulations to you and Al, Dan, and Frank. He now owns a golf course, so I'll be sure to get his number.
You bet. 3rd down and 4. I'll tell you, that record will stand for a long time because the leading active interceptor is Eugene Robinson of the Packers, and he has only 49 in his career. As Young throws, and it's nearly picked off at the 40-yard line. Darrell Williams of the Seattle Seahawks, who spent 4 seasons with the Cincinnati Bengals, breaking up the pass intended for Irving Fryer. The NFC is forced to punt.
And I dare say that Darrell catches more of these than he drops. He really has the ball, and he just allows it to go right between his hands. That's a relatively easy interception, and he knows it.
Going back to Paul Krause, I think the fact that there are not that many interceptions over the last decade or so is reflective a lot with the West Coast offense. They're throwing fewer percentages of interceptions in the game today. It's going to be a long time for them to touch.
Matt Kirk's kick is fielded by Eric Metcalf, and he is swarmed under at the 41-yard line. AFC will have it there. 4:49 left in the opening quarter, and Honolulu, the NFC leading.
Straight at you with some high knee action.
And on 2nd down and 6, Dennis again swinging to the outside. He's taken down at the 49-yard line. The tackle is made by Hardy Nickerson, one of the 8 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tony Dungy and his staff doing a fabulous job as the Bucs made it to the playoffs with a mark of 10-6.
Starts to the outside. Nickerson does a nice job of not overreacting, and that's easier to do to Jerome Bettis. As a linebacker, you should sit, hunker down, and wait. He will come back to you.
3rd down and 4. Brunell buying time and then throws. Screen set up to Bettis, and Jerome takes it across the 50 to the 46, and that's enough for a 1st down for the AFC.
Big-time collision there on the sidelines, too, as NFC trying to shut down Bettis from getting the 1st down, but he gets there. Something you have to work on, the timing of a screen is kind of a difficult thing, particularly when you're using different terminology, and they're using a Pittsburgh Steelers terminology here, and that one went very smoothly. That's one of the more difficult plays to put in and operate for both teams. Offense a little tricky.
A little more than 3 minutes to play in the quarter as Brunell off the fake, buys a lot of time, and throws, and along the sidelines doing a toe dance and making the catch was Jimmy Smith. So Brunell to his teammate, 2 Jaguars linking up, something they do quite often during the season. First down at the 29. 82 catches this year for Jimmy Smith.
Jimmy Smith put a deep move for Aeneas Williams, and Williams thought he was going to go deep. And look at his feet. That's perfection on the part of Jimmy Smith. Just keeping those toes inbounds.
And how about the delivery of the football from Brunel,
Deadly.
running when he threw that and placing it exactly right where he wanted it.
From the 29-yard line, Brunel. And he guns it in there at the 21-yard line to Ben Coates, and the Patriot tight end picks up 8. It's funny when you look at Brunel and Young in the same game, it's almost like you've got the same guy playing. He's just changing uniforms.
Both wearing number 8, and you're right. They look exactly alike. Look like Lynch actually even hit the ball. Got a right hand on the ball, deflected it a bit, but Coates able to concentrate and stay with it. That was really nice by both guys.
Got some great tight ends in this game. Ben Coates, Shannon Sharp, Wesley Wald, Mark Schmurra.
Second down and 2, and they give it to Bush to seek the first down. He gets across the 20 and appears to be a little short. Hardy Nickerson is there to make the tackle, but no, Gary Lane said he did get it. First down. Move the chains.
Crowd is interesting here, isn't it, guys? That's not a partisan crowd, and they're kind of cheering for anything and everything.
Well, there are a lot of visitors here from the mainland who make the trip over here and try to wrap a week in Hawaii around attending this game. There are corporate functions here. There are people here that are being entertained in the business community, and it's a reason to come to the islands.
First down at the 19-yard line. On at the 4.
Did he hold it?
No, he did not. Andre Rison, who had that great season for Marty Schottenheimer in Kansas City, couldn't hold on.
More often than not, he will hold that. He is a battler. He'll go into a crowd and come down with the football on more occasions than he won't. Had a terrific year, 72 receptions. Take a look here, a little drive. Well played. Coverage good there on Andre Rison, but he had his hands on it. It's unusual that he doesn't hold on to it.
Dishman with the coverage, second down and 10. A minute 15 to go in the quarter with the NFC leading 7-0. Bettis. You know what I think I've discovered in the past few Pro Bowls that we've done? It's almost as if the rooting interest develops as the game moves along. And I think what you also see developing is it's that underdog syndrome, too. If the team is trailing, there seems to be more of a partisanship for that team.
Or if one player is having an extraordinary day, they begin to pull for that player to break a record or do something really extraordinary.
And I think some of the rooting interest is generated by what happened the week before in the Super Bowl. And let's be serious about this. The Denver Broncos, Terrell Davis has a huge following here because of being victorious in the Super Bowl.
Third down and 8 is Brunel. Wide open in the back of the end zone is Rison, who holds on for the touchdown. Spider-Man.
Well, a little blown coverage somewhere. Dishman was on the corner, and more than likely he would have been in a man-for-man assignment. But Rison with the drive to the middle and took it to the outside, and he was wide open.
When you only have 2 coverages, it's pretty hard to confuse them.
Well, I don't think we'll see it from this shot, but there's 26. That would be Chris Dishman, the cornerback, and one would suspect that in all probability he should have been there, or at least closer.
Mike Hollis is the Jaguar. Brian Barker the hold. He boots it through. So Rison keeping his feet in and fighting the sun, able to hold on to tie it up in the waning seconds of the.
You play football and enjoy it.
Elway talked about having more fun this year. One of the big differences this season. It means that much to a player?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, you've been a player before. You know the ups and downs of this game. And if you get into a rut and you get disappointed or discouraged and you go the other way, you know, it becomes difficult. So when you're having fun, you can do the things you like, you know.
All right, Andre, thank you very much.
All right, Len, that's the end of the first quarter. In Honolulu, the game is tied 7-7 and will return to Hawaii after this. And we're back as we start the second quarter, and Barry Sanders is the ball carrier in Honolulu up to the 34-yard line. Parnell Lake makes the tackle. Al Michaels with Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf, Lynn Swan, and Leslie Visser.
Steve Young staying on for Steve Mariucci as head coach in the sidelines. We don't know how much we'll see of Steve. He started, as you mentioned earlier, out for Brett Favre, who couldn't come because of an injury, but Steve Young has been a starter here in the Pro Bowl. He's been to 6 of them, but he started 4 Pro Bowls. approaching a few of the Pro Bowl records is Steve Young.
3rd down and 5 from the 33-yard line. Young taking it on. That's what he started to do in the regular season for the first time this year.
Well, not quite like that, though. That's a Pro Bowl slide there.
Boy, severe loss of style points with that. That looked more like a quail sitting down in an open field.
He was going to make sure there was no mistake.
That was a pitter-pat slide. Talk about a bunch of little baby steps before he goes down.
And Steve was even laughing about it.
And Bruce Smith chasing him all the way, not quite able to catch him.
That wasn't even hard on his Pampers.
1st down from the 45. Sanders to the 49. One thing about Steve Young, and we've all been around him for years, he is as competitive as anybody I've ever seen in the game. And he gets into a game like this, and you think it's a vacation for him. But then Steve Mariucci was telling us differently yesterday.
The only thing we know for sure, Steve Young will not be allowed to play in this game as much as he would like to play. Steve Mariucci is going to give a lot of playing time to Dilfer and to Chandler, and Steve Young will be on the sideline campaigning the entire time he's out of the game, trying to get back in.
2nd and 7. Play fake, and then it is dropped by Mike Allstott, the Tampa Bay fullback. And it will be 3rd down and 7. Well, Val Pinchback is retiring, the director of broadcasting for years and years, and a great pal of ours from the National Football League, presented with that Koa Bowl, the trophy, and they're going to have an award, an annual award, as he posed moments ago at Neil Austria, the president of the league. An award named in his honor for contributions annually to the Pro Bowl.
Great guy. We've had so much fun with him over the years.
And a nice thing for Val, he's the winner of this year's Pete Rozelle Award at the Hall of Fame ceremonies in Canton this summer. He'll win that for his efforts in the world of broadcasting.
Good for Val.
One that I am very, very proud of.
3rd and 7 as Irving Fryer makes the catch and picks up the 1st down. A 15-yard pickup for Irving Fryer.
86 receptions this year. He's getting up there a little long in the tooth. But he had another fine year for Philadelphia. Started his career, of course, in New England, went off to Miami, and has really just continued to excel for Philadelphia at an advanced age, too.
And Irving, a guy that's made the Pro Bowl for 3 different clubs, New England, Miami, and now Philadelphia. Doesn't matter the setting, the performance is always the same for Irving Fryer.
One of the hardest working football players in this game.
14th season in the league. They fake the end around. Young going deep and wide open in the end zone to make the catch is Rob Moore for the touchdown. So Herman Moore catches the first touchdown pass, and Rob Moore of the Arizona Cardinals on the other end of a 36-yard Steve Young strike to put the NFC back on top.
And Darrell Williams and Carnell Lake were talking to each other saying, boy, we really handled that well, didn't we?
Well, I was on top of it at the beginning of this game. I was describing how easy it is for the defense as opposed to the offense, but Rob Moore with the great speed that got him 16 yards per reception this year for Arizona split the 2 defenders, and Steve Young right on target.
Well, those are the 2 safeties. Those aren't corners that are in a trail position. Those are the 2 safeties that are supposed to be deep, and they whiffed.
John Lynch to put it down. And the extra point is good with 12 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in the opening half in Honolulu. Rob Moore with the touchdown reception. NFC back on top by 7. NFC to kick off. Jason Hansen sending it down to Metcalf of the Chargers. And Eric spins his way up past the 20 to the 22, taken down there by Travis Jervey. And here's Leslie Visser. Leslie.
Alamana knows his way around the Pro Bowl. 2 touchdowns, the more the merrier. Tell us about the last one.
Well, it was actually supposed to be just a little flare out to the fullback, but Chris Carter couldn't get lined up. He didn't hear the slot, so I went over and I go, remember you got the reverse, and so the 2 safeties go, reverse, reverse. They made the fake, and they both bit. It's too bad. I felt bad.
Tell me a little bit about your team. Do you expect Jerry Rice back at full speed?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Jerry's excited about it. If he's watching right now, Jerry, everything's going to be fine.
He's on the golf course.
Well, it's really too bad. It's like weird without Jerry Rice in the Pro Bowl. So, Jerry, just 1 year off. Come on back.
And what about, might we see 3 wideouts?
This next year? Yeah. Absolutely, and then let Jerry float around and find the opening spot. Sounds like a pretty good deal.
And a big loss, losing Brent Jones.
Personally, huge, and for the team, huge. We'll miss Brent very much.
Just finally, what do you think it'll get for you guys to catch Green Bay?
Just play that much better ball. I mean, we got the guys. We got to make sure to sign our guys. Hopefully, we'll get Stubby and William Floyd back so that we can get our core guys, and that'll be a challenge. But I would like that very much. And then get a couple of extra guys, new guys that'll help us, and we'll go make another trip to the mountaintop, hopefully.
You're not going to dance for us, are you?
I throw another touchdown, I might have to pull it out.
Oh, well, we'll look for it. Back to you, Al.
All right, thank you, Leslie. Kimball Anders makes the catch there on a 2nd and long to pick up the first down. And I think back to, Steve Young, here it is the 1st of February. On the 1st of September, you began to wonder whether Steve Young would ever play football again. The day after he suffered that concussion in Tampa Bay, a lot of people thinking about he should have retired. His family had suggested he retire. And then he came back and had that remarkable run.
And also led the league again in passing.
And everybody thinks he might feel bad about throwing that touchdown pass. Raise your right hand, because I don't think he feels bad at all about throwing.
The Stubby he was talking about, of course, Dana Stubblefield, one of the 15 unrestricted free agents in this game, had an outstanding year, 15 sacks for the 49ers, and you better believe that Steve Young wants to get him back, along with William Floyd.
Yeah, the two key guys, but even so, the 49ers, and even with the new television contract that is going to expand the salary cap, the 49ers are still many millions of dollars over the projected cap. They're going to have to make a lot of moves to squeeze under.
They've shown remarkable agility in doing just that.
Here's Terrell Davis on a 2nd and 5 up to the 47-yard line, close to a first down. Stubblefield makes the tackle.
There's an ooper, a guy from the Upper Peninsula of the state of Michigan, Steve Mariucci, and what a job he did. And you talk about that dark day, Al, flying home from Tampa with Steve Young, a concussion, Jerry Rice on a stretcher, and the way he kept it together, and then the run the 49ers went on, a superlative coaching job.
And they lost the game, and they had to go down to Jim Druckenmiller, the rookie, to start their next game against the Rams, and that was the first of 11 straight wins. Brunell throwing off his back foot and throws it away as a flag goes down. Chris Dishman covering on the play. Yancey Thigpen was the intended receiver, sort of.
We put a good move on Dishman. Dishman had to make that move. That ball was uncatchable, too.
Holding, defense, number 26. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Dishman here replacing Deion Sanders, who was injured. But Dishman with an outstanding year of his own for the Redskins. There's his teammate, Darrell Green, and 39 years old in 2 weeks. And still a remarkable athlete with great speed. 1 interception this year, but that interception returned 83 yards for a touchdown.
That last penalty was the first against the NFC. And it's a fumble by Bettis at the 46-yard line, and the NFC indicating, as teams normally do, that it's their ball. It's too hot to be at the bottom of that pile. Leroy Butler says it's our ball, and he says it with emphasis.
Tuggle comes out with it.
And he's right. Confirmed by Gary Lane. Jesse Tuggle of the Falcons comes up with the football.
Bettis never had the ball. Watch it bounce right off. It hits him in the chest.
High handoff.
High. It was high up on the numbers, and Tuggle comes away with it.
This is today's actual sunset. Excuse me, this was the sunrise. Close. At Waikiki this morning. At 7:00 something.
I saw it.
Yes, I'll bet you did.
Sunrise, sunset.
From the 46-yard line. Young throws intended for Mark Chimura, broken up by Ray Lewis, 2nd down.
Somebody at the line of scrimmage, I think, got a hand on that.
And let's check in with Lynn Swan. Lynn.
Well, Al, I've got the senior member of the new inductees going into the Hall of Fame, Tommy McDonald, played from 1957 to 68. And Tommy, you only missed 3 games in your first 11 years. You're not that big a guy.
Well, you just can't hurt me. You know, mentally I try and out-psych everybody. So, if they hurt me, I jumped up real fast and just ran back to the huddle and then told the quarterback, take your time calling the play.
You've waited 24 years to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. As a senior member, express to us what this means to you.
I feel like a hot air balloon. I'm so high, I'm not going to come down. Pinch me, buddy, and, squeeze me, do anything. I hope I'm not asleep. I'm really here. I'm here.
Tommy, you're here, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Al?
That's great.
A lot of memories of Tommy McDonald beating up on our Giants team. Lord Van Brockton throwing to Pete Pijos and Tommy McDonald.
3rd down and 11 now as Young throws, and laying out to try to make the catch was Irving Fryer, but he couldn't hold on. Hasty covering on the play. It'll be 4th down. The Pro Bowl game is being brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. Hershey, the Great American Chocolate, and Miller Lite, now official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Frank, most of the players of my generation, we remember Tommy McDonald as one of the last guys to play in this league without a face mask. A smallish wide receiver and running downfield and taking those shots without a face mask. It wins you a lot of respect.
He and Bobby Lane.
That Turk kicks, and then it bounces back. A fortuitous bounce for the AFC as Metcalf was back there. Lets it bounce back to the 23-yard line for a 31-yard punt. With 8:19 to go in the half. And the NFC leading 14-7. Lance Alstott won $1 million by kicking a 35-yard field goal. Well, today you just saw the man, Dennis Crawford. There's his wife and his daughter. Wife Lindy and wife Tina, daughter Lindy. They're looking on as Jason Hansen has been working with Dennis Crawford from Cleveland, Tennessee. And at halftime, stick around, you'll see it live. He will attempt to kick a 35-yard field goal. One attempt. If he makes it, $1 million. Courtesy of Hershey's. From the 23-yard line, Eddie George of the Oilers is now in the game. The fake, and Brunell will take off, and he slides to a halt at the 25-yard line. And we're told that Terrell Davis has a strained left hamstring, and the Broncos star and Super Bowl MVP is done for the day. That's the bad news. The good news is he has 6 months to recover. I think he'll make it.
Of course, there's no contesting the fact that Terrell Davis plays with pain. Remember how he had to come out of the Super Bowl plagued with another migraine headache, something that has bothered him his entire football career. But what a courageous guy.
Shoulder and ankle, 369 attempts for Terrell Davis this year. That's phenomenal.
2nd down and 8. Brunell, good coverage that time, and cutting off the route was Andre Rison. Chris Tishman was with him. It'll be 3rd down and 8.
I think anybody in this country that has ever had a migraine headache, talking about Terrell Davis, to think of having a migraine headache and then at the tail end of it putting a helmet on and going out on the field of a National Football League game and getting hit, it's unthinkable. And that's a remarkable toughness for Terrell Davis. 3 touchdowns, a Super Bowl record, and that will last a lifetime.
And a genuine good guy, very accessible. Fans love him all over the country as Brunell throws, intended for Coates, and he is sandwiched between Leroy Butler and Lee Woodall, and it's 4th down.
I noticed about it. The best of the best usually are genuine good guys. I watched it yesterday. We were out here watching practice, and it was fun just to watch the guys stop and play with the kids, pat them on the head, give them an autograph. They're pretty good representatives from the National Football League, and these were all the top guys. Barry Sanders in particular went into the dugout, and the little boy yelled at him at 5 years old. He came back out, gave him a pat on the head, signed an autograph, talked with he and his family. You like to see that.
Ryan Barker to punt, and it's a wobbly kick as he shanks it, and it goes out of bounds near midfield.
When the crowd comes to life.
Yes.
They boo Barker for a bad punt. That is the loudest the crowd has been yet, unleashing on Brian Barker.
They're getting into it.
Well, that was pretty ugly.
So's that guy. Great shirt, by the way. I love it.
Thank you. XXL.
You too, Dan. Who's your haberdasher?
Looking pretty good here, huh?
Yeah. I like it.
Only you had tucked one in, though, Al.
Well, mine's hanging down to the floor.
Chris Pfeiffer, by the way, is the answer to your question.
Yes. Trent Dilfer is in the game, and Dorsey Levens takes it to the 48, and another season wrapping up. And let's check in with Leslie Visser. Leslie.
Al, this is the one man that Jimmy Johnson says he's always on the edge of his seat when he watches them. Barry Sanders. Barry, such a tremendous year. What did it mean to you?
It was a great year. I had a great time. You know, my guys really looked after me, Kevin Glover and the rest of the offensive line, and we had a good time. And, you know, I didn't expect in my 9th year to have a big year like I did, but I'm very grateful.
Well, some people say you don't even need an offensive line, but you brought your offensive line here.
Yeah, I thought I'd do something nice, something considerate for the way that they played this year and bring all the guys out here. The offensive line and also Tommy Vardell and the tight end also.
Oh, expensive weekend. Hey, you know what I'd like to know from you? Who do you enjoy watching at running back?
Well, most of the guys in the game, obviously, Warwick Dunn had an impressive year, and Dorsey Levin, and, you know, guys on the other side, Terrell Davis, I mean, he's exciting to watch, and the bus.
Well, that's good, because all your favorites are here. Thanks. Back to you, Al.
Al, I bet they weren't planning any trips after the second week of the season when Barry had a grand total of 53 yards in those first 2 games and then knocked off 2,000 in the next 14 games.
Second most proficient season in NFL rushing annals as Dilfer throws at the feet of Dorsey Levin. So Trent Dilfer's first series as the NFC quarterback is 3 and out. It's 4th down and 6.
Well, you look back to those first 2 games, Al, down to beat. Imagine what it would have been if he had got off to a good start. I mean, maybe 100 in each one of those, and we're looking at astronomical numbers.
No question. When you look at holding Barry Sanders, 2-game total of 53 yards, you'd say this guy's off to a, you know, what's looking at like a dismal season coming up. And then he went on a 14-game tear that was just extraordinary.
Somewhat overlooked is the fact he set the NFL single-season record for yards from scrimmage, rushing plus receiving, as Matt Turk floats one out of bounds.
Well, they're going to boo that too.
Yeah, and they're going to march it off and mark it outside the 20 and all the way to the 26-yard line. Well, another Hall of Fame selectee is on the field with Lynn Swan. Lynn.
Thank you, Al, and very proud of Anthony Munoz because he went to USC the same as Frank and I. Thought we'd throw that in there. I've got to tell you, when you look back on your career, I've got to ask you about this. 11 seasons, 11 consecutive Pro Bowls. Do you look back and marvel at that accomplishment?
You know, I look back at it and I look at what it took to do that. And I have to look at the offseason, January to when camp started. A lot of guys thought I was fanatic, but I thought the running and the weightlifting really was the key to that, especially after coming out of college with the 3 knee operations in 4 years. I knew that I had to concentrate on that. And I look back at the 11 Pro Bowls, and my main concern coming out of college was to get to an NFL camp.
Mike, you led Cincinnati's offensive line in their 2 Super Bowl performances. And you were one of the big linemen who also had the good feet. Do you think that's what people admired most about your play?
I would like to think that that was the thing that really put me to that level. I really prided on myself on working on my foot speed. I knew I didn't have the straight ahead speed like a guy like you or nowhere close to it. But I really, in that area that I needed to work in, I worked on the foot quickness, the lateral movement, the forward and backward. 40 time, it'll take me 5 days. If I could get that first 10, 20 yards down, that's what counted.
You've earned it all, Anthony. Thank you and congratulations.
Thanks a lot, man.
Okay, Lynn, Drew Bledsoe in the game, and that pass was tipped by Ken Norton of the 49ers. It'll be 3rd down and 8 with 5:40 to go. And 6 months from today, Anthony Munoz, Tommy McDonald, and Paul Krause will be enshrined in the Hall of Fame in Canton.
Well, few people did it better than he did, wouldn't you say, Dan? Was he one of the players you watched?
Oh, absolutely. And Anthony was just coming into the league at the tail end of my career, and the one thing you could say about Munoz is he just did nothing wrong. You know, athletically, he was gifted. He was tough. He was a hard worker. He was competitive. And you can make an argument that he's the best offensive tackle that ever played.
Bledsoe guns it, intended for Risen on 3rd and 8. That's broken up by Merton Hanks.
Hanks coming off a great year, 6 interceptions, but that doesn't tell the half of it. A lot of big returns, a lot of great plays just like that. He timed that beautifully, deflecting the ball away from Andre Rison.
Dennis Crawford, the most nervous guy in the joint now, is going to be kicking for $1 million at halftime. Warwick Dunn is back to receive the kick. Brian Barker's last punt was only 26 yards.
knows the crowd is just waiting to pounce.
And the wind has picked up. It's a swirling wind. This is a far better kick called in by Dunn at the 24-yard line. And the only rookie on the field today brings it back to the 38. Warwick Dunn from Florida State, tackled by Damani Dawson after a 48-yard punt and a 14-yard run back. 5:22 remaining in the opening half. NFC leading 14-7.
Parker has to be walking off going, what do I have to do to make these people happy? A 48-yarder greeted by complete silence.
Lynn Swan. Lynn.
Thank you, Al. Dennis Crawford. You're from Cleveland, Tennessee. I'm from Alcoa.
Right. Cleveland, Tennessee. I've been there for about 3.5 years now. Originally from Athens, Georgia.
Now, as fellow Tennesseans, I want you to make this kick. How confident are you?
Pretty confident. I got to work on the accuracy. So I had a bad day of practice yesterday, so I worked on it a little bit, just focusing in my mind today. So.
You were on the other sideline talking to Jason Hanson, who was kind of watching you kick. What did he have to say to you? Did you just talk to him?
Basically, just don't get out there and think about a lot of techniques or anything. Just pick out a point in the stands, focus on it, and kick away.
Well, you know, he said, you have the ability to make this kick. He said, if you believe it, you can make it.
I've made them from this far before, but it'd be a different story in front of this big crowd.
What would you do with the money, the first thing off the bat?
Pay the bills off and start investing in my children's future.
Good move. Good luck to you.
Thanks, Lynn.
All right, Lynn, so Mr. Crawford will be seeking $1 million, paid out over a 20-year period as Wesley Walls makes the catch and picks up the first down. The consolation prize, by the way, is $10,000 for Mr. Crawford and an all-expense-paid trip to Hawaii.
Might not be easy. A pretty gusty wind here today.
Yeah.
I know here for the players, it's $25,000 to the winner, $12,500 to the loser. That's not quite as big a spread as between $1 million and $10,000.
100 to 1.
There's nothing wrong with $10,000, but whoa, that's a consolation prize that isn't really a consolation.
From the 49-yard line, Levens to the 46, and let's go to Leslie Visser. Leslie.
On the 49-yard line, Al, fitting to speak to a 49er. He was the defensive NFC Player of the Year and one of the key free agents. Dana Stubblefield, what do you expect in the free agent market?
Well, I would expect everybody to come knocking at the door. You know, it's a good honor because me, John Randall, Eric Swan, and Sean Gilbert, all of us is up, so it's going to be interesting who picks up who.
Would it be fair to say that you want Bryant Young Money to stay as the San Francisco 49er?
I think they know that, and there's no doubt that, yes, I do want Bryant Young Money. And, you know, and some because I am the Defensive Player of the Year.
Well, good luck to you. Thanks for that. Back to you, Al.
Well, anything but an evasive answer by one Mr. Stubblefield.
Such humility nowadays.
A cunning answer going with the and some.
Flag on the last play.
Show me the you-know-what.
I'm out of stuff to say.
And there are a lot of quality defensive linemen on the market.
Holding on the offense, number 74, 10-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Now, here are the unrestricted free agents. And again, these guys are free to sign as of the moment, as of the 13th of February. And there they are. That's quite a list. And there's some talk about that date being extended, perhaps, because the league is still trying to figure out exactly what the salary cap is going to be next year. This year it was a little bit more than $41 million. Next year they're anticipating it'll be somewhere between $53 and $55 million per team.
We saw John Randall there on the sideline. Between Randall and Stubblefield, 30.5 sacks from the tackle position.
Second and 18 and wide open is Irving Fryer to haul it in. First down at the 34.
And to think that two defensive tackles that are able to generate 30-plus sacks are on the market at the same time, that they're going to draw huge numbers. Normally the outside linebackers and the defensive ends are the guys with the big sack totals. When you can fight through double teams consistently and get the kind of sacks that Randall and Stubblefield have, they're going to get big bucks. Of course, every player in the league, from a productivity standpoint, ought to have to play on a one-year contract.
From the 35-yard line, Levens taken down. Kirkland and Michael Sinclair in on the tackle.
Guys seem to always have big years in the final year of their contract prior to free agency.
It's proven in every sport to be a big incentive. As we come to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes left in the half in Honolulu. NFC leading the AFC in the Pro Bowl, 14-7. Some of the AFC stars resting in the cool zone. John Randall, one of those unrestricted free agents we were talking about earlier.
Giants Mike Strahan also here today. 14 sacks. Giants coming off a rebound season, winning the NFC East. Stirred up quite a commotion in the Big Apple.
2 minutes to go, second down and 10. The AFC defending here as the NFC with Giffords at the controls at the 35-yard line. And Frank guns it over the middle. A lot of action going on, but incidental contact all over the place. Aaron Glenn covering Chris Carter on the play. Looked like a street play.
Right in front of the official, and that certainly appeared like it could have drawn a flag. They were both going at it. Top of your screen, 81 Chris Carter, Aaron Glenn, 31. Little pushing, little shoving on the part of both of them, and no flag. A little more liberal here in the Pro Bowl than you would find in a regular season game.
Not quite as tight. Again, that thing took so long because there was absolutely no pass rush coming from the AFC at all. And as you can tell, the wind is really starting to pick up and really swirling down on the field.
Third down and 10. And Dilfer nearly sacked, but escapes, then throws, and it's caught by Mike Allstott. One Tampa Bay Buck finds the other. He takes it to the 13 and a first down. Dilfer escaping the clutches of Bruce Smith.
Yeah, Mike Allstott, he looks and runs and looks for people that try to tackle him like a throwback football player. He is huge and strong.
And the last guy to make it back to the line of scrimmage is Bruce Smith, who can't believe that he goes right over the top of Trent Dilfer. That does not happen very often, where Bruce Smith has a clean shot at a quarterback. He still hasn't made it back to the huddle yet. And you see him tapping his chest going, that's mine. I had him and I didn't get it done.
Lynn Swan. Lynn.
Well, Al, I'm sitting on the bench with Terrell Davis. And Terrell, has it settled in yet? Have things calmed down for you after the Super Bowl?
No, not yet. I think this game is a reminder of the long season that I've played. I think it's really going to set in once I get home and relax and get away from football entirely.
Now, everybody's talking about the fact you went out of the ball game, the migraine headache. What they may not realize is that they put you back in that ball game to help John Elway run that play action fake for a touchdown, and you could barely see.
Right. They put me back in there. And Mike's point was that the play wouldn't work without me. So they realized that, if I'm not in the game, more than likely we're not going to run it. So I had to go back in there whether I couldn't see or not. And the play worked for us, so I didn't mind that.
Well, Terrell, the NFC just scored another touchdown, so you got a lot of work ahead of you.
Yeah, we do. But I think the AFC, we have the resolve to come back. So the second half is going to be ours.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Lynn, and as you were interviewing Terrell Davis, it was Dorsey Levens of the Green Bay Packers escaping what should have been a Chester McLaughlin tackle and then taking it into the end zone.
Breaks it back to the inside, and Levens, who had a great year, over 1,400 yards for Green Bay, 190 of those against Dallas, prances into the end zone.
And the AFC defensive team can say, we have met the enemy, and it's us. Bruce Smith missing the tackle and allowing a long completion to Allstott, and another missed tackle, and they pay the price.
And Jason Hansen bangs it through to make it 21-7.
Levens, another unrestricted free agent, coming up in a few days. Had a superb year for Green Bay. Well, he's another missed tackle, and then the cutback and the sprint to the end zone.
Remember, Dorsey got his shot because Edgar Bennett got hurt in the preseason for the Packers, and there's Leslie Visser.
Well, Al, he's just catching his breath as he's done all year. Another touchdown, Dorsey. What about that play?
It was something I've never seen before. It's just, you got to come out here and improvise. Anything goes.
Tell me, how has your team rebounded from the Super Bowl loss?
It's still tough. We're still thinking about it. It's going to take a while, but somehow we have to overcome it.
And what about for you? Is it unlikely the Packers will keep both you and Edgar Bennett?
I think it's unlikely, but hopefully we can get something done. And I'm almost sure one of us is going to be there next year. I'm not sure which one, though. Can
you see yourself in either a Jacksonville or Miami or Chicago uniform, or likely Green Bay?
Oh, it's tough. I'm so used to that green and gold. That's where I want to be. It's tough, but like I said, anything can happen.
Well, just one final thing. Which is better for your social life, being on Oprah or being here?
Definitely being on Oprah.
Thanks, Dorsey. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Leslie. He was on Oprah, and Mark Chmura, one of his teammates for the Green Bay Packers. And I guess they were talking about single athletes, and the next thing you know, he had about 1,000, at least quasi-marriage proposals.
But if you're a bachelor and you want to draw some interest, he's definitely in the right economic strata.
He certainly is.
To draw some interest. And if you talk about the Green Bay Packers and faced with a dilemma to either keep Edgar Bennett or Dorsey Levens, you know, the first thing that comes to mind is you're looking at a healthy Dorsey Levens, and you're looking at Edgar Bennett trying to come back from Achilles surgery, and it's you know, it's not an easy proposition facing Ron Wolf and Mike Holmgren.
Dorsey Levens just moving into his prime. Just finished his 4th season.
Fielded by Eric Mayhew. Up to the 27. Speaking of Mike Holmgren, you've got a lot of stuff swirling right now about did Seattle call Green Bay? Was permission granted or not granted? A lot of talk about whether Holmgren would have considered an opportunity to go to the Seahawks as the coach and general manager, but that appears to be a dead issue right now.
And I think it's safe to say that Mike Holmgren wishes it would have turned out differently just in the way it was handled. It was awkward. It made everybody a little uneasy, I think, in not knowing what both parties, all three parties rather, were trying to accomplish. It ended up with a he said, I said.
From the 27, Bledsoe throws, and that's incomplete up at the 33. A reminder at the half, as soon as the gun sounds, the $1 million attempt by Dennis Crawford. He'll have one shot from the 25-yard line. That means a 35-yard field goal. After that, the Toyota halftime report, Salt and Pepper. They're here, and they'll be performing at halftime, and we'll have a few comments at the half as well. With the NFC on top, 21-7.
Think saliva is a little tough to come by for Dennis?
I think so.
I imagine that his tongue is starting to stick to the roof of his mouth right about now. Getting ready for that $1 million stroke. Just think, Al, $1 million. Could you put one right down the middle of the fairway?
Especially if we get a timeout.
You know, that would tighten your swing up a little bit, wouldn't you?
And down there looking for a timeout with Warren Moon. 41-year-old Warren Moon. Been to Pro Bowls with Houston and Minnesota and Seattle. We'll see him coming up a little later on.
Jason Hansen, you see walking on the NFC sideline. He's been working with Dennis Crawford. Maybe he'll have a last-minute bit of advice.
3rd and 10. Flag. It's a free play as Bledsoe loses the ball. His arm was coming forward at the 14-yard line. Robert Porcher of the Lions comes up with the ball.
And this was offsides on the NFC, so this is really going to be a big plus for the AFC here.
Offside, defense, number 56, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
It's Chris Dolman who was offside.
Ooh, that was really a nice job of stripping that ball out of there and then recovering it himself. That's a play that could have really opened this game up for the NFC, up 21-7. They would have had outstanding field position.
Now Bledsoe on 3rd and 5 with a swing pass caught in the flat by Kimball Anders, and Anders loses the football at the 43-yard line. It's recovered at the 46 after the hit by Jesse Tuggle by the NFC.
Well, did you see Warren Sapp chasing that play? All 300 pounds of him. Penetrated and then pursued after it, was in on the stop.
Lee Woodall recovered it. Tuggle created it.
And the answer is yes, I did, Frank, and he's remarkably fast. I would not have thought a guy that big could get it moving like that.
Never seen that much of him, but that was awesome. Warren Sapp is 6'2" and 288 pounds. He looked like a scatback.
All right, back to Lynn Swan. Lynn.
Well, you were talking about Green Bay and Holmgren, and Seattle seems to want him, but there's some confusion. What do you know about this, Warren?
Well, I know that we are interested in him, and there's been a lot of speculation about who's going to be the new general manager there. There's talk about a new coach, and that's why I'm kind of waiting for the dust to settle on everything before I decide what I'm going to do.
So you still think there's still interest on the part of Seattle for Holmgren?
I'm really not sure, but you hear all the speculation in the newspaper. I haven't really talked to anybody in the organization about it yet, but I know at the end of the season they said they were going to look for a general manager. If they found the right guy, they'd probably try and sign one, but thus far they haven't gotten the guy they want.
You're 41 years old. You want to come back and play another year. That's going to impact maybe a decision about your career.
Yeah, it really is, and I'm waiting to see exactly what happens up there because I want to see how I fit into the new plans, if there are any new plans. But if we stay with the way things are, status quo, I'd love to be back.
And I'd love to see you for another year. Take care, Warren.
Thanks a lot, Lynn.
All right, thank you, Lynn. As Rob Moore had that pass attempt broken up by James Hasty in the prior play, and this one intended for Chimura as Dilfer goes down. And that's a very weird situation in Seattle. In the meantime, I mean, Dennis Erickson is half twisting in the wind. He is still the coach. Tom Donahoe apparently interviewed for the general manager's job. Tom has done a great job with Pittsburgh, but he is staying with Pittsburgh. Now you've got the Holmgren thing happening, and even Warren Moon, who should be in the loop, admits that he doesn't know what's really happening.
What's your pipeline to Dallas?
Well, apparently everybody knows that the three candidates at the moment are Terry Donahue, the ex-UCLA coach, George Seifert, the ex-49er coach, and Sherman Lewis is interviewed twice. Then there's a report there's a mystery candidate, but Dallas apparently in the next at least 48 hours will name its coach. 3rd down and 10 as Gilford again escapes a sack. The pocket throws out of bounds and incomplete.
But Al, you mentioned that there's a glaring difference here. Dallas does not have a coach, and Dennis Erickson is the coach of the Seattle Seahawks, and there is an awful lot of open speculation about replacing him, and right now you have to wonder how effective can he be. I would imagine Dennis would like to see some decision and some decision made quickly. And that's one of the things I think that Mike Holmgren probably would like to do over, openly talking about a job held by another guy.
4th down and 10 as Turk kicks into the wind, and it's fair caught at the 16-yard line by Eric Metcalf with 32 seconds remaining in the half. Look at Waikiki Beach and the hotels, most of which were constructed in the late 60s and early 70s during the building boom.
There was about 30 minutes of cloud cover this morning, which was the only hint of clouds that we've seen here in the last week. Chamber of Commerce weather.
For the Chamber of Commerce, good news. And the renewal of the Pro Bowl, it will be returning here. They've put so much into it over the years. This being the 28th Pro Bowl between the AFC and the NFC teams.
Been here since 1980, and Bledsoe guns it deep downfield and incomplete. Andre Rison blanketed by Aeneas Williams. I think one of the smartest things the league did was come over here in the first place back in 1980, because and you still have some players who skip the Pro Bowl, let's face it, who could play but don't play in any given year, but fewer and fewer since the game moved to Hawaii.
A lot of pressure from the families to make the trip. It's a fun experience. And Mike, yes, he's getting a little refreshment there. Things were getting a little dry.
The cotton was forming.
Dennis Crawford getting ready for his $1 million kick.
2nd down and 10. Well, the one thing that's apparent is that with this wind picking up, and normally a swirling wind, if anything, gets blowing as we look at the field left to right, and that is the direction in which Crawford will kick.
False start, offense, number 71. 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
Quick report, Leslie Visser. Les.
Al, this man, you might have made a case for him being MVP of the Super Bowl if the Packers had won. Mark Chimura. Mark, what have you talked to Brett about since the game?
Just really about the game. We all know Brett. He likes to take a little more on his shoulders than he needs to, and I just tell him we got something to shoot for next year.
And what about for you? Do you think if you were to lose Mike Holmgren, would Sherm Lewis be the one you'd all want as coach?
I think so. I think that'd be the logical replacement. We'd hate to lose Sherm to another team. So, in one way, it'd be great to keep him with us because guys love playing for him.
Whole league will be watching. Thanks, Chewy. Back to you, Al.
All right, Leslie. Eddie George is the ball carrier, and the AFC is content, I think, to run off the clock here. And that means one Dennis Crawford from Cleveland, Tennessee, will attempt to become America's next millionaire. Wife and daughter looking on. And last year, a lot of the players remained out on the field to see what would happen. Lance Alstott was successful in his kick last year, and now Dennis Crawford will tee it up at the 25 to attempt a 35-yard field goal.
And Jason Hansen is going to meet him out there.
Cleveland, Tennessee will attempt to win $1 million by kicking a 35-yard field goal into Hershey's $1 million kick. And now, here's ABC's Al Michaels.
And we're on in the stadium as well, and Dennis Crawford of Cleveland, Tennessee, about ready to try to duplicate the feat of Lance Alstott last year. The players remain on the field, and momentarily he will try to become a millionaire.
Little scary. Dennis getting some last words of encouragement from Neil Smith. Neil, you don't know anything about kicking. Let the guy go.
Gary Lane and his crew have remained on the field, and they will determine if the kick is good or not. Wife Tina, daughter Lindy looking on.
Players from the NFC to the right, AFC to the left. This isn't making it any easier for Dennis. You can do it.
Dennis Crawford. Good luck, Dennis.
That would have been good at 50.
$1 million. Dennis Crawford.
Dennis Crawford of Cleveland, Tennessee, $1 million. A trip to Hawaii. Little doubt about this one. Had the distance easily and right down the middle.
Congratulations to Jason Hansen, who was his coach, getting him ready for this. And Frank, you were right. That kick would have been good from another 10 or 15 yards away.
And the exultant Dennis Crawford knew it right away. Gets a hug from Neil Smith, and let's meet America's newest millionaire with Lynn Swan.
Al, I'm with Dennis, and he's got his daughter in his hands. She was a little shocked, I think, Dennis, with all the attention you got for that $1 million kick.
A lot of yelling going on for her. She can't believe it, Lindy. It's okay, baby.
I have to ask you one question. Neil Smith walked up to you. He is not a kicker. He doesn't know anything about kicking. What did he tell you?
I just asked him if he wanted to do it. But he said just put it between the two yellow posts. That's all he said.
Well, you did a superb job. That would have been good, I think, from about 35 yards away.
For 27 of those seasons, Frank Gifford has been the rock, the glue, the stabilizing force, the man in the middle in a revolving door game of musical chairs. And he has been there for every single memorable moment.
Touchdown. And this crowd loves it. William Perry spikes the football.
That is Joe Washington. That is Joe Washington.
Stays on his feet. He has great speed.
That is Joe Washington.
How can it happen?
What a football game this turned out to be.
To the 20 and out in front. There goes Bo. And nobody catches Bo.
Players are throwing their helmets. They're lying all over the field. Unbelievable.
And back live, well, Frank, it's just not going to be the same. You've made the last 12 years for me the fastest of my life, and I guess you picked up enough frequent flyer mileage. We are really going to miss you.
And Frank, you are television sports history, and I think on behalf of both of us, just thanks for taking us along for the ride. I'm very proud to have been with you.
You know, that brought back so many memories. But I really have to say something. This is not a sad day or a down day in the Gifford house. We have thought about this day for many years, going back when Cody was born some 8 years ago. We knew it was going to come up, and it's not sad and it's not down. The number really was significant to me on there was 600. 600 games, but that means 1,200 airplanes, 100 hotels, 100 different cities. I'm just about had it with that. But I am really looking forward to the pregame show we'll be introducing this fall before Monday Night Football. And more than anything else, I'd like to say that I love this game, that I'm glad I'm finally off the road. In fact, guys, I'll be home tomorrow morning. I hope you're watching. As for you guys, you're extraordinary. Dan, you know what I think of you. I died for you until you got that Hall of Fame ring on your finger. And Al, what can I say? You're the absolute very best at what you do. There's no one quite like it. And all of us here in Hawaii want to thank you for forfeiting your time here at halftime for your interview and for letting us put on this little performance. And a word to Boomer. Boomer, always sit between these two. That's the place to be. And guys, where's my watch?
You can have mine.
It's been a great run. It really has. I've enjoyed all the guys in the truck. Kenny and Greg, they're the best in the business. The many guys that have crossed this country so many times, we've done it together. We are very, very proud of what we have turned into. Pete Rozelle and Roone Arledge's dream 30 years ago into a sports television institution. I'm so very, very proud to have been a part of it. Thank you, guys, and God bless.
We'll be back. The second half coming up from the Pro Bowl in Honolulu.
Of Aloha.
Fitting in, schmitting in.
What
The new RAV4. It's not for everyone, only you.
The Toyota Halftime Report has been brought to you by Toyota Trucks. Tough, durable, every day. We'll be back with the second half kickoff after this message from the NFL and a word from our ABC stations.
So, on behalf of the NFL and all of its players, congratulations. And remember, like you taught us, no question is a bad question.
I have a question, Steve. Why is it called football? And why do they call him a running back if he's always running forward?
Why is the red zone green?
Good questions are just one reason why the NFL and Santana Dotson are proud to honor Sarah Gibbs as Teacher of the Year.
Why do they give a 2-minute warning with a half hour left?
Good evening, I'm Sean McLaughlin.
And I'm Ann Trujillo with this 7 News update. An Army helicopter crashes in the high country. Amazingly, everyone on board survives.
The helicopter went down before 2 this afternoon just west of Leadville near Turquoise Lake. That's at about 10,000 feet elevation. It's a remote area, so rescuers used snowmobiles to get to the crash.
Chopper 7 flew over the crash scene just a short time ago. Witnesses say it looks like the chopper hit a power line. It then hit some trees and then landed on its side. The chopper was based out of Fort Carson. It's not known right now why it was in the area, but there were 6 people on board. All of them survived, but several were injured. At least one is in critical condition, and that person was airlifted to St. Anthony Central Hospital here in the metro area.
Now, this is a picture of the kind of helicopter that crashed. It is a Sikorsky UH-60 Black Hawk. It's mostly used for transport and is known as a dependable aircraft. Now, recapping again, an Army helicopter based out of Fort Carson crashes in the mountains near Leadville. 6 people were on board, but amazingly, all of them did survive. But at least one person is in critical condition right now.
And we'll have much more on the story on 7 News tonight at 10. Now, back to the game.
These lights. They say it costs $1 million a day to light Las Vegas.
I've been here 6 times. Twice. 46 times.
This is the best place to watch people.
6 money, 6 beers.
Hey, aren't you guys Siegfried and Roy?
Roy.
Actually, I'm Siegfried. This is Roy. Can I get comps to the next show? Okay.
This is a great place. There really is only one Las Vegas.
It's about time and finding faster ways to take new ideas from drawing board to reality. It's about the search for methods to make machinery last longer or make a long drive seem shorter. It's about making time to look beyond the obvious. And most of all, about taking time to listen. All things change through time. Cars, trucks, and a company.
The best moments from the 7 News Parade of Champions, tonight at 9 on 7 News.
One of the great beaches on the island of Oahu on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. Not a cloud in the sky right now. Jason Hansen will be kicking off for the NFC. The NFC on top by a score of 21-7. Eric Metcalf is back to receive for the AFC. The second half is underway. Metcalf hauls it in at the 1-yard line. Blocks up past the 30 and Eric to the 38-yard line, so a 37-yard return. He's tackled there by Warwick Dunn, and let's check in with Lynn Swan. Swanee?
Well, Al, Dan was talking about this game and how competitive it gets as it goes on. Well, Dan, the challenge has been thrown. Coward and the assistants came out and they said the NFC has been rolling up the corner on the weak side. They've been stunning. He said the second half, there are no more rules in this ball game. We'll find out. Al?
Okay, you've got Chan Gailey is the offensive coordinator on Cower's staff. And Jim Haslett is the defensive coordinator. As from the 38-yard line, it is Eddie George taking it up to the 44. Again, Terrell Davis is out of the game with a strained hamstring, so we'll see a lot of Eddie George. And let's go to Leslie Visser.
Alan, with the man who helped make Dennis Crawford a millionaire, Jason Hansen. Jason, you worked with him?
I worked with him a couple times, and so I think it's just only that I should take the credit for it, maybe. I want half of that.
How good is he?
Well, he had the leg, and the couple times I worked with him, I think even then he was just a little nervous, and so I didn't really change much except maybe just try to tell him how to handle the moment. I'm not even sure how I would handle it, but just told him to relax and take his time. He drilled it.
Well, awfully impressed. Maybe have a job as a coach.
Yes, I hope so.
Thanks, Jason. Back to you, Al.
Okay, Leslie, that was Eddie George, tackled by Robert Porcher, setting up a 3rd down and 4. Well, it's great for the Hershey's company. They get a lot of publicity out of it for the 2nd year in a row. Start thinking about they may have to move the kickback. I mean, both guys, Lance Alstott last year, Crawford this year, banged it through with relative ease. 3rd down and 4 as Bledsoe retreats and then throws, and nobody's home. Intended for Tim Brown.
Although the scouting report coming into this year was that Crawford wasn't quite as consistent a kicker as Lance Alstott was last year, and they thought that it would be a much greater challenge for Crawford. He actually put the better boot on the ball. He nailed that thing.
What have we heard? He was making good kicks from 25 or 30 yards. That thing seriously could have gone 50 yards very easily.
And from the 35-yard area, that was a 35-yard kick, he was kind of in that 30% range, and boy, but he made the one when it counted.
Here's Barker kicking with the wind. And pulled in at the 12-yard line by Warwick Dunn. The Tampa Bay rookie out of Florida State turns it back upfield and gets taken down from behind by Kimball Landers up at the 26-yard line. Early in the third quarter, the NFC leading the AFC by 2 touchdowns.
The taste of Budweiser is unique. Let me pour one. Pouring Budweiser down the middle of the glass releases the CO2, enabling us to smell the mild aroma of the hops. The initial taste impression of Budweiser should be a delicate sweetness at the tip of the tongue. And then as you drink, the middle of the tongue should have a mild bitterness. And then as you finish the swallow, there should be absolutely no aftertaste. A clean, crisp, refreshing end. That is the taste of Budweiser. I love beer.
This is Imagine TV.
This Mercury Sable sure is roomy.
Yeah, but why don't we ever go anywhere?
Because we don't have any feet.
No feet.
I love you even more than I did before I had amnesia. I think.
Even more than your Mercury.
I have a Mercury. I'd forgotten. Where am I going?
Till next time, imagine yourself in a Mercury.
What in the world is so darn funny? Oh, we get it. Laugh with Daisy and John on AFV, followed by 2020 ABC Monday.
Oh, no!
NFC bench, Darrell Green, the oldest starter in the game at the age of 38. Roy Butler of the NFC champion Packers. Over on the other side, Dale Carter on the bench for the moment, even though the AFC defense is in now at the 26-yard line. The NFC first down and 10, leading by 14. The quarterback is Trent Dilfer, and he hands the ball off to Warwick Dunn up to the 28-yard line, tackled there by Joel Steed. Well, Steed is one of those guys, number 93, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who plays a position that it's tough to vote a guy into the Pro Bowl from nose tackle. He's the run stuffer in the middle. He won't get a lot of sacks, but everybody around the league now beginning to understand just how great a player he is.
Right in there with his teammate, Levon Kirkland. They really shut the run down for the Steelers.
Steed, a free agent at the end of this year. Kirkland is not. Both of them built very similar and low, wide, but very fast for their size. And boy, did they deliver a punch when they get there.
2nd and 7, and the catch is made by Carter on the outside. Tackled there by Aaron Glenn, about 3 yards shy of the first down. 3rd and 3. Bill Cowher, remarkable to think that he's only 40 years old, off to about as good a start as any coach has gotten off to in the history of the National Football League.
His temperament is the one that believes me that it makes me believe that he could do it for the long haul. When I look at a coach in the National Football League right now that I think could go after Don Shula's record, Bill Cowher is the guy that comes to mind.
Carter makes the catch. You're right. I mean, Shula was such a freak. I mean, there was a period when maybe Don could have been the victim of burnout, but then he came out the other end and loved it as much as ever at the end. And you're right, Cowher does have the type of temperament, and he's able to budget his time in the offseason so it doesn't consume him.
A couple of heartbreaking losses in the AFC Championship game, and he rebounded with a sense of humor about it. He's really, I agree, Dan, he's handled it so well.
Well, I liked what he said about, making the personnel decisions. He is involved, but he doesn't want to be the coach and the general manager. He said, I need to have a life during the offseason.
Shimura making the catch and a first down for the NFC at the AFC 43. That's why I think he was very happy that Tom Donahoe, who was being considered as the general manager at Seattle, will stay in Pittsburgh with the Steelers.
They have a good working relationship, and they trust each other, and Donahoe gives Bill input in personnel decisions. But, Bill Cowher said, it's important to me that I'm able to take a week and go with my family someplace and not feel that I have to call in every 3 hours. And when you're the personnel guy, you never are afforded that type of an escape.
1st and 10 at the 43-yard line.
Well, that was well blocked.
Yeah. Ooh, that was going to be a reverse.
Dunn was done in.
Dunn was going to reverse to Chris Carter, and he didn't even get started.
Justin McLaughlin makes the tackle, and the Pro Bowl game is being brought to you by Mercury. Go ahead, imagine yourself in a Mercury. Make your lunch special with new Lay's Deli Style. And Brewery Fresh Budweiser reminds you fresh beer tastes better. I didn't have to be reminded.
No. Right on that boat. That would be the perfect place to do it.
Second and 15 as the catch is made by Warwick Dunn. And Dunn is flung out of bounds at the 38-yard line, about 5 yards shy of the first by James Hasty.
Not a bad day as Pro Bowls go. We've had some very hot days in the past, but this is the weather's perfect here for football.
The air temperature is actually on the coolish side a little bit. It is much warmer over on the AFC sideline, though. They are in the sun, and this being an artificial surface, it's a good 15 to 20 degrees warmer than the ambient temperature, just 4 or 5 feet off of that turf. It gets hot.
3rd down and 5 as Dilfer throws, and on a slant it's caught for a first down by Irving Fryer. To the 28 he goes, tackled by Hasty. Time now for some Budweiser NFL news. 15 players selected for this game eligible to become unrestricted free agents, and we've been talking about several of them throughout the course of the game. Just one head coaching job remains to be filled, the Dallas Cowboys. And again, we discussed that the obvious candidates right now, George Seifert, Terry Donahue, Sherman Lewis, and then the report surfacing from Dallas that there's a mystery candidate. First down and 10 from the 28-yard.
Whoa, I don't think you can do that.
Well, he just did it.
That's one of the rules. The quarterback in the Pro Bowl can throw the ball away like that to avoid an interception or a sack.
Right. There's an actual rule that says that there's no intentional grounding when the quarterback throws the ball forward toward the line of scrimmage.
Right this season, this draws a major flag. You had a quick look at Emmett Thomas. He represents the National Football League. He makes the determination as to whether or not they are sticking with the rules. Cowher was complaining earlier that they were rolling up their cornerbacks, but they're rolling them up, but they're not getting into a bump and run, and that's what you can't do.
This is about the time you start seeing some line stunts and blitzes.
Done on 2nd and 10.
They're going to fudge. This is about the time it starts.
Well, we just saw one. Junior Seau came on one right there.
Well, he can say that he was reading the guard, and he just came up to attack the guard, and he wasn't there when he got there.
Big time attack. Watch 55, left side of your screen. He's looking at the guard. The ball hasn't been snapped, Dan.
Yeah, well, you see a flag anywhere?
No.
Believe me, they'll be worse than that before this is over.
3rd and 8. 8:20 to go in the 3rd quarter. NFC with the ball and a 14-point lead. Pressure put on by Sinclair, but he gets written out of the play, and then the pass is incomplete, intended for Chris Carter. And thus Jason Hansen will come in to kick against the wind. And attempt will be about a 44-yard field goal.
Look at that elevation by Chris Carter.
That's nothing.
Wow. Ball way behind him, and yet he still is athletic enough to get up there and make a stab at it.
He and Herman Moore for the Vikings, both 6'3", 6'4".
John Lynch to hold it. Jason Hansen of the Lions to boot it.
I'm glad Hansen spent so much time working with Crawford.
Right. Where's Crawford? Where is he? So Crawford will be working with Hansen when we come back. 8:05 left in the 3rd. NFC up 21-7.
The 85 was them. I mean, we had a great defense, great guys, and I just feel very privileged to be a part of that.
Well, Al, he is the only Bear here, and he looks like he could still play. Back to you.
He does. Mike Singletary, a fabulous career, and amazingly, the Chicago Bears are a team that not only does not have a player here today, I believe it's 4 consecutive years.
He did have that stare to scare. Leslie hit it right on the head. We had some great shots of him on Monday night. in that surreal atmosphere of the lights. Mike Singletary, he had focus.
I remember when Mike came into the league as a rookie, playing across from him. Completed pass there to the far sideline. He would stand there, and it was like his feet were on hot coals. It's like he was running the 100-meter dash at the Olympics, but he wasn't going anywhere. Boom, 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 just that, waiting to explode into somebody trying to block him or a tackler. He was a bundle of energy.
Tim Brown making this catch, but short of the first down as he's knocked out of bounds by Darrell Green. And Warwick Dunn is back to receive the kick from Brian Barker.
Oh,
and it's a fake. It's the up back who takes it. It's Eric Metcalf, and Metcalf is up to the 49-yard line and a first down.
Well, Bill told us yesterday he had a few things up his sleeve. That was one of them.
Well, it's a pretty safe play when you're looking at fourth and only about a yard. It's if you're going to gamble, you're up around midfield. If you turn it over, it's not that big a loss. And then against a return team that is made up of guys that aren't used to playing special teams, that's pretty close to a safe bet.
Well, he opened the game with a reverse inside his 5-yard line, so he's not afraid to take the risk for his Pro Bowl.
Now Bledsoe from the 50-yard line, looks to the outside and caught by Tim Brown, who steps out of bounds after an 11-yard gain and a first down at the 39-yard line.
Jimmy coming off another great year for the Raiders. Remarkable 10-year career in his 7th Pro Bowl. 6'5", Drew Bledsoe, firing over his own offensive lineman. He's got a real gun.
Tim Brown won the Heisman Trophy at Notre Dame, and that pass is incomplete. Sharp was in between Merton Hanks and John Lynch. It'll be second down and 10. Looks so funny to see Merton Hanks wearing 37. The deal is if two players are selected to the Pro Bowl and share a number, then the guy with the seniority gets to wear that number. Hanks has been in the league 7 years, but Leroy Butler, who wears 36, has been in the league 8 years. So it's Leroy's 36.
Now you could go by Pro Bowl seniority, and in that case, Merton would have had his own number. Hey, whatever the number, you can still spot Merton Hanks on the football field.
Second and 10.
I don't care if he was wearing 79, I could find him.
Eddie George stopped after a gain of 1. Here's Lynn Swan. Lynn.
Well, Al, I'm with Brooke Lee, who is originally from Pearl City, Hawaii, and last May she was crowned as Miss Universe, and today sang the national anthem. That's quite a homecoming for you.
It was. I was very, very nervous. Hometown crowd is always, a little rough. So I thought I did a good job, though. I haven't remembered yet. I'll have to go back and look at the playback. So.
You did a great job. Now, are you a fan of a particular team or a particular player?
Well, Jesse Sapolo with the 49ers, he's a hometown boy from Farrington, so we always follow him here, and we sent his best out to him since he had the open heart surgery. So, but there's a lot of good players out here today, and having all this fun in the island to concentrate is hard, but they're doing a good job.
Well, it sounds like you're an NFC fan. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right, Lynn, and that was Eddie George making the catch along the sideline. Nice play, and takes it down to the 16-yard line for a first down.
Bledsoe under a lot of pressure. He just literally threw it up for grabs, and Eddie George read it a little better than Aeneas Williams. He comes back for the football, makes the catch, and then moves back to the inside. But terrific play by Eddie George.
And not a lot of experience in catching the football. Eddie's job with the Oilers is to run it. He only had 7 catches the entire season. So,
well, he ran it, though.
Might give Jeff Fisher and the staff an idea. Maybe they ought to throw it to him more often.
George again picks up 2 to the 14-yard line.
6'3" and about 230. We were looking at him yesterday. Dan and I were down in the field, and there's a lot of football player here.
And he runs high. He runs without a lot of bend at the waist. And for a guy that runs high, he still is a punishing back. And you're right, when you see him up close. And that shows some innate receiving skill there for Eddie George. And
first of all, he's 6'3", and he went up for it and made a good effort.
Second and 8. In the end zone. Caught by Jimmy Smith for the touchdown. The Jacksonville Jaguars, Jimmy Smith. And so the AFC on a 4th and 1 faking the punt. Metcalf picked up the first down, and they make it pay off and draw it within a touchdown. Cowher playing around with his daughter. Bill saying, boy, wasn't that a great call?
The slants are hot here today. The middle of the field wide open. Merton Hanks, the safety to that side. You saw him 37, too far underneath and not able to get back and make a play on the ball.
He was back there to help Darrell Green, and he didn't get there.
Mike Hollis for the extra point. So Jimmy Smith of the Jaguars put 6 on the board. Hollis of the Jaguars adds the extra point, and it's 21-14 NFC.
Waiting for something.
Mike Hollis. Sends it down to Bates, who trips over, pulls it in at the 9-yard line, up against the 20. And Bates won an Olympic medal in Barcelona to the 36-yard line. Here is a prudential fact for you. As Frank mentioned before, in this game through the years, there have been more interceptions than touchdown passes, but not today. A total of 4 TD passes and no picks. Turnabout in Honolulu, NFC up by 7.
This is Imagine TV.
This Mercury Sable sure is roomy.
Yeah, but why don't we ever go anywhere?
Because we don't have any feet.
No feet.
I love you even more than I did before I had amnesia. I think.
Even more than your Mercury.
I have a Mercury. I'd forgotten. Where am I going?
Till next time, imagine yourself in a Mercury.
This simple. With the AT&T One Rate plan, calls from home are one low rate to anybody in America 100% of the time. So of the 24 hours, there is no hour when this rate does not apply. It's the day rate, the night rate, weekdays, weeknight. Let me put it to you this way. The time when this rate is not valid does not exist. Is that clear?
Yes.
You see, when I apply myself?
No games. The AT&T One Rate plan.
14 hostages, 1 train, no escape.
Sit down!
A world television premiere, The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, ABC tonight.
And back in Hawaii, a live shot. All right, a plausibly live shot.
Sometimes, Al, you stand alone.
Yes, I do, and you leave me alone.
Just standing there.
Thanks for all the help.
How do you follow up on that?
Yes. Well, you go right to the game. 3:17 left in the third quarter. NFC has the ball at the 37-yard line. 1st and 10. And it is incomplete, intended for Wesley Wall. 2nd and 10. Leslie Visser, what you got?
Al, this is a topic near to my heart. My mom was a teacher for 35 years, and this is Sarah Gibbs, the NFL Teacher of the Year from 1997. She taught math for 37 years at Jack Yates High School in Houston, nominated by Santana Dotson. Congratulations to you, Sarah. What kind of a student was Santana?
Thank you very much. Santana was a very good student. This is why it was very odd to me when his father came over, because the coaches wanted to take him out of my class because they felt that I was too hard and whatnot. But what we agreed on, that Santana would either stay in my class or he wouldn't play football. You know, I used to get the fellas to see that nobody wants a dummy playing football. I just teach them to think. you have to really think. And Santana was a very good student.
Absolutely. And as for you probably know, President Clinton is presenting Congress with his budget tomorrow. What would you like to see him do for education?
Oh, it was just so excellent listening to his speech Tuesday night. I really like that after-school program. That is very much needed from 3 to 6. That's when we have most of the problems with students. Frankly, I was working on a program in Houston where the city of Houston has adopted such a program. So I think that's excellent. In fact, he has excellent ideas about education.
Great.
And I'm so glad he realized that because, as you know, if we don't educate children, what are we going to have? The future of this country depends on who we educate today. So you can look at our future if we don't educate anyone.
Well, thank you, sir. We might be sending you to the White House. Back to you, Al.
All right. We thank you, Leslie.
Oh, Leslie, you've never looked more like the cat that ate the canary.
Yes. Sarah Gibbs, our teacher of the year. And Matt Turk, who played his college ball at Wisconsin Whitewater, sends it down to the 12-yard line where Eric Metcalf swings to the outside and is out of bounds at the 21.
Well, she's right about one thing. We don't want dummies playing football. Only dummies talking about football.
And we have them, too.
How fast do I really have to be going before I get a ticket?
The law's the law.
What is it, 5, 10 miles over?
Deli-style Lays. Ooh. Well, it's a guessing game out there, Mike. Here, let me show you something.
72?
Yep.
Let me see that. 90.
Hey, you're fast.
Put crunch in your lunch. New Lay's Deli Style.
This is Imagine TV.
Brad, I brought you up here in my Mercury to tell you something.
Yes, Brittany.
I'm carrying your father's child.
Wouldn't that be me?
Exactly.
Oh, yes. That's nice.
Jerky?
Actually, no. It's a pretty smooth ride.
Till next time, imagine yourself in a Mercury.
This is Barry Sanders Field,
Where he learned to run.
where we learned his moves. He spins, he jukes.
He's like crazy, you know. Barry used to play flag football. He said if someone can't grab your flag...
There's no way they'll ever be able to tackle you.
He's like a pinball.
This is Barry Sanders Field.
Where we learn to play.
Football is football no matter where you play.
You know, Al, this would be a good time for you to talk about your education plan for America.
Oh, yes. Well, as you say, we've got no dummies on the field, just in the booth, right? It's part of the job description.
Anybody can do it.
Well, anyway, guys, it's been a great season. Another terrific series of games that we had on Monday night. And this one coming down to the end, even though it's an exhibition game, obviously. All of a sudden, you get to that competitive part right now where it's a 7-point game. And the intensity will pick up just a little bit from the 21-yard line as Bledsoe throws. And I know a lot of people poo-poo that, but the players will tell you themselves. You get down to the fourth quarter, you've been out here all day. Hey, pick it up.
The $12,500 differential starts to get factored into this, too, as we move in closer to the fourth quarter.
Well, I think the thought process is, hey, we've come this far, and we're this close to winning it. Let's close it. Let's go ahead and expend a little more effort and win the thing.
Second and 10 is Bledsoe on a draw. Gives the ball to the bus. Bettis back in the game. Jerome on his first carry of the second half up to the 28-yard line. Tackled there by Leroy Butler.
You have to admit, for some of the players in this league, of which I included myself in that group, winning a Pro Bowl was the only postseason game you ever had a chance to win.
I always found it fun, Dan. I played in 7 of them. Getting to know players that you had played against, you had no idea what they were personally, and that's one of the great aspects of this game. There's great friendships that come out of it.
I made friends in Pro Bowls that have lasted ever since. Still stay in touch.
3rd and 3, and here's Bettis again. Jerome across the 30. He got tripped by Jesse Armstead and is a little short of the first down. And under a minute now to play in the third quarter.
Fourth and a little bit.
Well, in the regular season, were these the Pittsburgh Steelers, they would be punting here. However, it is the Pro Bowl. And at least for the moment, the AFC will line up to go for it. Whether they snap it or not is another story. Very often you'll do this to try to get the other team to jump offside. But nope, they are going for it. Why not? It's Bennett, and I think he gets stopped shy of the first down. Hardy Nickerson, the ex-Steeler, stops the current Steeler. Nickerson now of the Tampa Bay Bucks there to make the tackle.
Well, that's mano-mano, too, because you can't blitz. You can't change from your 4-3 basic defense. You can move your linebackers up. And that's exactly what happened right there.
Well, that's Robert Porcher coming back from the inside, but Nickerson really scraped into the hole. That was an attempt by the AFC to get up to the line of scrimmage in a hurry. They went on a quick snap count trying to catch the NFC before they had a chance to get defensively set, and it just didn't work. A big risk by Big Bill.
Well, his first one worked, the fake punt, and that led to a touchdown. This one doesn't. And in the waning seconds of the third quarter, the NFC has it at the AFC 30-yard line. The two Bucks are in the backfield. Allstott, the fullback, and Dunn, the tailback, and the quarterback is Dilfer. So an all-Tampa backfield with Dunn taking the ball to the 25-yard line.
Did you ever think you'd live long enough?
No.
To be calling an all-Tampa backfield in a Pro Bowl?
No way.
That's a real tribute to Tony Dungy, isn't it?
It sure is.
A reminder following this, Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf, Lynn Swan, and Leslie Visser. Second down and 5 for the NFC at the AFC 26, with the National Conference leading by a touchdown on the first down, picked up by the rookie Warwick Dunn to the 16-yard line.
And coming off a big year, just under 1,000 yards rushing, and there were a lot of questions as to how he would be in the National Football League. His size, the fact, of course, 5'8", 176-pounder. Even though he had a remarkable record at Florida State, there was still some question. Well, he's erased that question.
This guy averaged almost 7 yards a carry at Florida State, 6.9. A lofty 4.4 this year with the Bucks. That's getting it done for a man that size.
And Dilfer swings one incomplete into the end zone.
Ooh, and Dilfer knew that he delivered a bad football. He had a wide open receiver. Chris Carter had made a good move. Dilfer just didn't get it there. Carter's laughing. Good play action on the part of Dilfer. He just didn't get it there. Carter had made the break, was opening his spread between the defender, and Dilfer knew that he had a bad pass.
An opportunity here for the NFC to stretch their lead. They're up by 7, but the AFC's been playing well here in the second half. The NFC's not done much.
This is Mike Allstott of the Bucks to the 13-yard line for a gain of 4. Chris Slade in on the tackle.
This guy Mike Allstott, what a great story. This guy, we actually have a fight going on. We actually have fisticuffs taking place down about the 15-yard line and flags all over the place.
Well, Kevin Gogan is in it, and Neil Smith. Gogan and Smith were the protagonists.
All right, here's the end of the run, and look right in the middle. There's Neil Smith, Todd Stussy, and Smith pushes Stussy from behind, and it looks like it's over, but then fists started to fly.
I don't think I've ever seen that in Pro Bowl.
I can't recall ever having seen it either.
Personal foul on the offense, number 66. Unnecessary roughness. He's ejected.
Well, that's when Gogan got into it. We mentioned Gogan was in it.
Number 90 on the defense. He's ejected. Penalty offset.
Whoa, look at that right hand by Neil Smith to the back of Kevin Gogan. Smith has Gogan by the face, but now both Gogan and Neil Smith are ejected. I'm assuming that something happened prior to that. I'm going to assume that that was a retaliatory blow by Neil Smith. I've been to a lot of these, watched a lot of them, and called a lot of them. I've never seen anybody ejected from a Pro Bowl for fighting.
So much for the Aloha spirit.
I wonder if there's some... That is a major league right hand by Neil Smith. Right to the back of the helmet. I'm sure that really hurt Kevin Gogan. Probably broke 2 of Neil Smith's fingers. I never saw the wisdom in smacking a guy in the helmet with your hand. Especially Gogan's helmet. Now, this is an unexpected turn of events. And if I was going to pick a fight with somebody, it'd be somebody a whole lot smaller than Kevin Gogan.
About 6'7", about 330 pounds.
Well, Swanee is down there, and he's going to get the inside scoop for us.
Well, he's going to get Neil Smith's version of the story. If we can get Leslie a stepladder, maybe she could go ask Kevin Gogan.
3rd down and 7 after the offsetting penalties and subsequent ejections. And Gilford. Second breaks down, and he's in the grass. Michael Sinclair and Bruce Smith are there to wrap him up and force the NFC to settle for a field goal attempt.
Neil Smith has calmed down on the sidelines. Kevin, I think, was just kind of wondering what happened. Took a shot at the back of the head.
Well, seeing that Kevin was ejected, assuming he did something prior to what we caught on tape there to warrant an ejection. Didn't look like he did anything after that.
Now Hansen for a 35-yard field goal. Lynch puts it down. Mark Crawford's 35-yarder was good for $1 million. This is Honolulu, and the AFC team in the cool zone on a really a beautiful afternoon.
Need to put Neil Smith and Kevin Gogan in the cool zone.
Boy, they were jawing at each other as they both departed the playing surface, and here it was.
They both have to leave the field, and there's Kevin Gogan wanting to get over and continue with Neil Smith.
I think these two lockers, as I recall, they join each other inside.
There's a tunnel as Hansen kicks it into the end zone, and after a momentary pause, Metcalf brings it back to the 25. All right, let's see what really did transpire. Swanee?
Well, from the red corner, Al, when I talked to Neil Smith, he said he and Todd Stussy were going at it, and then Kevin Gogan came over and just kicked him. Then he retaliated against Kevin Gogan. That's what set it off, because Kevin Gogan came and kicked him from the side. But to find out more, let's go over to Leslie to see what happens from the blue corner.
Lynn, on this side, it's the reverse. He said that Neil punched him in the back and that he retaliated by kicking. He's quite furious. As a matter of fact, as he was leaving the field, Steve Young went over to the NFL representative and said, do not leave big old Gogan alone because he will go find Neil Smith. Back to you, Al.
Well, those two guys are staying at the same hotel tonight, too. Attention security. Warren Moon is in the game, and Bettis takes it up to the 33. We don't want to speculate as to if there's been any history, but keep in mind that when you're talking about Smith now playing with Denver, Gogan with San Francisco, they met in a Monday night game earlier this year, but they've met several times in the past when Neil was a Chief and Gogan was a Raider.
And we all know what happens between those two, and the security better be down there in the locker rooms, because you'd think that they would cool in a hurry. If anything, it was escalating on the way out.
2nd and 1, and Bettis takes it up to the 36-yard line.
As they were heading up the tunnels, they were still going at it long distance.
They were jawing.
A serious breach of etiquette by both of these guys. Pro Bowl etiquette being what it is, but I think we'd have to go deep into the record books to try to come up with an ejection for fighting in this game.
First down at the 36. Under 12 minutes to go in regulation with the NFC up by 10, and Moon throws, and that's caught by Tim Brown. And taken away then by Green, but the play has been whistled dead. And a first down for the AFC.
Well, Warren still has the snap in that arm, fires it as he's backing away from a defensive lineman and gets a lot on it. 6 years in the CFL, 10 years at Houston, 3 down in Houston, and at Seattle. Remarkable career.
Still throws that perfect spiral.
Doesn't
Perfect. 44-yard line. Moon, incomplete, intended intended for and coached.
And if any pattern has been there on a consistent basis during the course of this ball game, it has been some type of a slant or a post pattern to the middle of the football field. A little tougher to work the sidelines, although we saw that beautiful completion early in the game from Mark Brunell to Jimmy Smith on the sidelines. But the middle of the field has been relatively open for all the quarterbacks so far.
That's reflective of that individual coverage, the single coverage you throw away from the double coverage, the safety going to help one cornerback and find the cornerback who's on his own. Very effective because they're getting a lot of time to throw the ball.
2nd and 10. Jerome Bettis swings to the outside. Really can't get on track. And let's go back to Lynn Swan. Lynn.
Thank you, Alan. With Dwight Stevenson to the Miami Dolphins is going into the Hall of Fame. And Dwight, 8 years, 5 All-Pro performances at 255 pounds. That's a small man playing a big game.
That's true. At this days and time when everybody's over 300 pounds, it just shows you in a short span of time, you know, the men are just bigger and faster out here.
What got you into the Hall of Fame was the way you were able to play. Describe that play against a bigger man.
I don't know. I mean, one of my biggest assets was my quickness and that sort of thing. I felt I had excellent quickness, so that's what I try to use to my advantage. Instead of, just my explosion, trying to get to him as fast as I can and then trying to negotiate him or moving where I had to have him move to.
Some outstanding teams in Miami. Who might introduce you in the Hall of Fame? Have you made that selection yet?
Yes, I have. I've talked to Coach Schuler, and he's called to congratulate me. And also, when I spoke with him, he said that he would be happy to present me at the Hall of Fame. So I'm looking forward to that day.
From Hall of Fame to a Hall of Famer.
Absolutely, sir. I'm excited about it.
Congratulations, Dwight.
Thank you, Lynn.
I'm especially pleased for Dwight Stevenson. Remember, we were there the night when his career came to an end, a Monday nighter in Miami, when he suffered that devastating knee injury. I'm thrilled for him.
And Boone throws, and what was so not humiliating, but inglorious about that is they put him into a cart that night. I'll never forget it. And it was a small cart, and even though he was small by today's standards, a big man, and it was just sort of not the way you wanted to remember Dwight Stevenson.
No, you know, at the time we had no idea, though. People have come back from serious knee injuries. We had really no idea that was going to be a career-ending one.
Yeah, Dwight suffered some nerve damage in that knee and never able to get back onto a football field again. And even though his career was short, I'm glad the Hall of Fame voters did the right thing. He is a Hall of Fame.
2nd down and 10. Moore looking for a backside screen. It's Bettis. Jerome is out of bounds at the 29-yard line, forced out by Darrell Green. 5 yards shy of the first down. Warren Moon, 41 years old. Remember, he began this year as the backup, then ascended to the starting role. He was not initially voted into the Pro Bowl, but when Elway took a pass and everybody else moved up, Moon became the 3rd quarterback. Jan Stenerud, the oldest player ever in a Pro Bowl, the Hall of Fame place kicker.
Warren's been here with 3 different teams. We mentioned it earlier: Houston, Minnesota, and now Seattle.
No knock on Jan, but it's easier to be here at 42 kicking than it is to be at 41 being chased by 320-pound linemen.
3rd and 6, and the ball too high, intended for Tim Brown, covered by Aeneas Williams.
When you think of Warren Moon performing at this level at 41 years old, it is a remarkable achievement, both mentally and physically. It is, you're just 41, and don't let that just roll off without thinking it all the way through, that here he is performing in a Pro Bowl at the most difficult position to play in the National Football League, quarterback.
He had a big year at Seattle. 25 touchdowns, over 3,600 yards. He still got it.
48-yard field goal for Mike Thomas, and that kick is good. He had the benefit of his regular holder, Brian Barker, who's the AFC punter, and his normal holder putting it down, and a 48-yarder pulls the AFC back within 7. NFC 24, AFC 17, 8:51 left in regulation.
Frank.
Beach, and that's Diamond Head in the background. It's been a beautiful week over here. The players have had a wonderful time.
Malibu Kelly Hayes was out there surfing yesterday.
That's exactly right. He's over here. He's known as Kaka'ako Kelly Hayes.
Well, we all got to be something.
This is Michael Bates taking it from the 1-yard line. Looking for room. Shadowed by Carter, who turns it back inside. Hello.
Hello.
And Bates loses the ball, but there's no fumble. The play is dead at the 9-yard line. And let's go to Lynn Swan. Swanee.
Thank you, Al. I got Shannon Sharp for a State of the Broncos speech here. Tell me about one thing first. Elway, is he serious about thinking about retirement? Do you want him to come back?
I'll be perfectly honest. What I told him when walking up the field last Sunday is that I want you to take your time and think about this. I want you to enjoy the offseason, enjoy this victory, but by no state rush to what you're going to do, because what you're going to do, what you're going to decide one way or another is greatly going to affect the Bronco organization. So I want him to enjoy this and not even think about retirement or coming back. I want him to enjoy this victory.
Now, the team is going to change. What do you think the team will pick up in the offseason or try to pick up?
I have no idea. You know, Mike has done a great job in his 3 years there of bringing in personnel, shipping out personnel. I'm sure he's going to do a great job. He's going to address the needs, whatever that may be, and we're going to go from there.
But you seem to think they might go after a big-name defensive lineman.
I think so. There are a lot of them out there, and you know, I've been talking to a few of them, and a lot of them would want to get an opportunity to come play with a winning organization. And you know, winning the Super Bowl, everybody wants to come to your program now. Especially they found out how well we run things and what kind of guy Mike is, and you know, we love to have some of them, but we can't have them all. You know, we got a great nucleus, and Mike just going to build on that.
All right, Shannon. Thank you very much. Congratulations on a great year.
Thank you.
All right, you can always count on Sharp for the State of the Broncos. As Chris Chandler, who was named to the squad earlier this week and has only practiced for a couple of days, of the Atlanta Falcons, the much-traveled 32-year-old quarterback, is in now on 2nd and 12, and he hands the ball to Warwick Dunn with a flag down.
And how proud they must be at the University of Washington. 3 of their quarterbacks are playing in this Pro Bowl. Chandler, Warren Moon, Mark Brunell. That's quite an accomplishment, one university, to have 3 quarterbacks in a Pro Bowl.
And their arch rival?
Offense, number 64. Penalties declined. 3rd down.
Their arch rival, Washington State, producing Drew Bledsoe, another quarterback in the game. The Pro Bowl game being brought to you by the new Dodge. It's about change. Bud
that might end up making a name for himself in this league. Meanwhile, Bruce Smith, he's so far over on the other side, he stops to carry on a conversation with the officials.
Well, he was saying he was drawn off, gesturing at the offensive tackle.
Unabated to the quarterback, number 78 on the defense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Bruce is notorious for anticipating a snap count.
Find me one outstanding defensive lineman that doesn't guess every now and then.
Yeah, quarterbacks get into a rhythm. There was a little movement on the part of Stussy, number 74.
He's right.
And Bruce Smith pointing right at him.
The problem is that Todd moved a little bit, very subtly, but Bruce waited about a second or so before he went.
And now on 3rd down and 4. Chandler fires and it's caught at the 29. Nice grab by Rob Moore.
That's a clock reception there. It'll move the sticks.
Well, it moves you out of your own end as well when you're protecting a lead. That is really, that's key. That's a nice completion for a guy that just came into the ball game on the move.
Very accurate.
And that's a nice job by Rob Moore of extending. He really has to get the arms out to corral that football.
Chandler has well traveled. Indianapolis, came up with him in '88. Tampa Bay, he was with the Cardinals, with the Rams, and found a home with Dan Reeves down in Atlanta.
And before that, he was with Houston, so 6 teams in 10 years. And his first Pro Bowl, as Mike Wallstott picks up about 4, and our man Steve Hurd, who comes up with some gems, tells us that with Chandler selected to this game, he is the first quarterback from the 1988 draft who has been selected for the Pro Bowl. There has been a quarterback from every draft from 81 through 95 that has gone to the Pro Bowl, and he's the first one, though, from the 88 draft.
Well, only Steve Hurd would think to look for something like that.
Interesting when you think about it.
Yeah, it is. 3rd-round draft pick in 1988 at Indianapolis.
And there's Mark Brunell, one of the Huskies, 2nd down and 6. Taken down at the 40-yard line, but he has enough for a first down. Moving the sticks again, Derek Thomas, who has been to the Pro Bowl every one of his 9 years in junior say-out with a tackle. Here's Leslie.
It's been a busy week for this man, Warren Sapp. You got married 3 days ago.
Yeah, I'm a newlywed right now and just out here having a little fun.
Well, you had Derek Brooks was your best man. His wife, Jamiko, is she here?
Yeah, she's up in the stands. Her and my mother and her father and the newborn, Mercedes.
Well, talk about you're here with half your team, I think 8 Buccaneers. What was Tony Dungy's influence on the defense?
Well, it was the whole thing about how he came in, just brought a structure and how he allows us to do what we need to do on the field to be great. And that's the system that he implemented, and so far, so good.
So far, so good. Congratulations to you, Warren. Back to you, Al.
Thanks, Les. As Warwick Dunn picks up about 4, they're keeping it on the ground and trying to move the chains.
Warwick with a good move there. I heard him on television last night talking about people saying he wasn't big enough for this game. He said, well, they don't stop you down where I run. But he does run with a lot of strength, very durable. Good effort there, bouncing off one tackler and picking up about 4.
Well, Dunn is exactly the same height as Barry Sanders. Barry packs about another 25 pounds on that frame than Warwick Dunn. But still, there is a room in this game for a guy that's 5'8", if you got the tools.
2nd and 6. Chandler playing a little clock ball. He makes the play clock all the way down. Then gives it to Dunn. And
those are tools.
Those are tools.
That's a first down.
Yeah, those are tools.
You know what that is, too? That's strength. He is very strong. We talked about him being 5'8" and 176 pounds, but that took a lot of strength, that move right there, to spin back inside, out of the tackle, and get the first down. Watch this. He's hit right here, and then just spins away from an arm tackle and gets the first. That's exciting.
Darrell Williams, safety, spins him all the way around. That's the difference between being at the Pro Bowl and watching the Pro Bowl.
Chandler again taking the play clock all the way down to 2. Gives it to Dunn. Out of the shadows, loses the football. And Derek Thomas was the guy who created the fumble.
Yeah, Junior Seau blitzed on the play. He was way into the backfield.
In the meantime, we're still waiting for the officials. There was a half-hearted designation from the head linesman. Now officially it's their ball.
The NFC coaches are looking up to the press box trying to get a decision. And now all the players are looking up to the press box.
They're looking.
I think we're going to get one right here, too.
The whole NFC sideline is looking up at Emmett Thomas, and there is Emmett Thomas, the defensive coordinator of the Eagles. And it's his job to call it if he sees it. And it appears that it's Gary Lanes, our referee. He signals first down for the AFC.
Darrell Williams came up with the football. Derek Thomas was the man who stripped it. Take a look here, and there comes Seau through the middle.
And really, I think Emmett Thomas is right not to overrule that. It's a running play, and he's just anticipating the play and getting up to the line of scrimmage.
Now it's Kimball Anders with a flag down as he steps out of bounds near the 50-yard line.
Jesse Tuggle was indicating that he had been clipped on that play, and he did get a flag. Tom Nalen was out in front blocking.
Holding, offense, number 66. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Tom Nalen, part of that Denver offensive line that performed so well down the stretch.
He spun Tuggle all the way around back behind the line of scrimmage. And when you're out in the open like that, tough to get away with it. What a tremendous performance by that Denver offensive line. Nalen representing them here today.
Moon going deep and looking back into the sun, and out of bounds anyway was Andre Rison. Second down.
Wonder how Gogan and Smith are doing back in the locker room.
Well, they went out for a beer.
I don't know. That may not get. Not sure I'd save them a seat on the same bus going back.
Well, somewhere in the recesses back there.
I keep looking for the stands to see if I see them
Like
start
rock a little
plucking
bit.
up and down or something.
Second and 10 at the 39-yard line. Second and 20 rather, as Warren Moon flings it over the middle into traffic, and it's Tim Brown who comes over the football. And he's out in front. Gets by Hanks, and then finally pushed out of bounds inside the 10 by Darrell Green.
Well, that's what the AFC needed.
Warren Moon delivering once again.
And again, where did he deliver it? On a pattern to the middle of the football field.
And that's where Timmy
There it
Brown
is.
works so well, too, coming across the middle. Absolutely fearless.
And Merton Hanks once again in a trailing position and takes the great speed of Darrell Green to come all the way across the field and save a touchdown.
It's a 57-yard pickup on a second and 20. It's first down and goal. And it's Moon giving the ball at Eddie George, who goes in virtually untouched.
Well, here comes Bill Cowher's call.
He told us yesterday that he would go for 2 in this situation at the end of the game, and he means what he says.
They are, well, he said he was going to talk to his players and get their consensus. There's $12,500 difference for the players between winning and losing, only $2,500 difference for the coaches. And Bill said, I'll get the consensus from the players and see what they want to do.
Well, right now, it looks like they're going to go for 2, unless they have a change of heart.
They better tell some of their guys, because a lot of their linemen are up on the line of scrimmage like they're going to kick an extra point.
Not, they're going to be going for 7 here. Kimball Andrews seems a little confused.
Well, they're not sure if they got the right 11 or if they've even got 11.
But it's funny, you know, when we asked Cowher yesterday what he would do in this situation, without saying so, he kind of indicated, you know, maybe the last minute of the game. Now you have 2.5 minutes, all 3 timeouts and the 2-minute warning. So we're a long way from the end of the game.
It's only a $2,500 difference. It's for coaches.
And they're going for 2, and it's Moon faking and then throwing incomplete off the hand of Andre Rison. So the key play was the pass to Brown that set up the George touchdown, and Cowher goes for a deuce, but they can still stop the clock at least 4 times.
Right. 3 timeouts, the 2-minute warning. There's still a lot of football left here in this game.
And the NFC hanging on by 1. Lining up to attempt an onside kick, even though we have a ton of time left, 2:31.
I would kick it off.
No way they could have worked on this. They might have given it 5 minutes in practice, but I doubt it.
He might kick it off anyway.
Yeah. Now they're going to redeploy.
And, well, I don't think you can pick up the ball and do that, can you?
Sure, I've ever seen that. Mariucci's saying you have to throw a flag.
Breaking a lot of new ground. At our first fight.
I don't know why you're not allowed to reset the ball. You could get a delay of
delay a game, or
the play clock goes in motion once. Should at least once the referee signals it for start of play.
Should be able to do what you want with it.
Meantime, just 1 man back for the NFC. That's Michael Bates. Everybody else up near the 40-yard line. And they do kick it deep, and Bates goes back and hauls it in at the 1. On his own, loses the ball at the 16-yard line.
Oh, and they're going to
Gary
roll
Lane
it down.
said, yep, he was down. Wesley Walls came up with a football, and the NFC will maintain possession.
That was one of the bigger hits we've seen today.
Larry Wiggum going down the field from the New England Patriots. Well, it's that time of the game when all of a sudden the $12,500 differential kicks in. You've been out here in the sun for 3 hours.
You got 2.5 minutes left in a ball game. And it's a 1-point game.
And a lot of incidentals back at the hotel.
At the 17-yard line, first down. It's fumbled.
Loose.
Snap is fumbled. Well, the AFC's got that one.
No question about that.
At the 16-yard line. Michael Sinclair of the Seahawks recovered.
Bill Cowher does get into it, doesn't he? There's an unusual sight. Bill Cowher all the way out onto the field past the numbers.
Well, he had to be questioning himself about going for that 2 points. They get it back now well within field goal range.
Tony Mayberry was the center. Looked like he started to move. Got the ball up, and Chandler never fielded it cleanly.
NFC also has their 3 timeouts. And still to come, the 2-minute warning.
NFC now 2 fumbles on his last 2 possessions. They'll keep it on the ground. Eddie George swings to the outside and is out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. Run out by Jesse Tuggy. Spotted at the 7 after a 9-yard pickup.
Bill Cowher, I think, with the running game that he has here, is not going to be content to just squat down and try to win this game with a field goal. Go ahead and stuff it in the end zone if you can. His enthusiasm is infectious.
Second down and 1 from the 7-yard line. George again, he takes it to the 5, and that's good enough for a first down. So now it's 1st and goal. Well, the other game Cowher can play here, of course, as we come to the 2-minute warning, is do you make the NFC use its timeouts?
That is a 2-minute warning.
We'll find out. NFC leads by 1. 2 minutes to go in the season. AFC has it at the NFC 5. AFC trailing by a point. And they give it to Eddie George. And George takes it to the 1-yard line. And now Leroy Butler and the rest of the defensive unit looks over toward the bench. And
Timeout.
said take a timeout.
NFC, that is their first charge team timeout. This is a 30-second timeout.
So the NFC conserving time on the clock. I mean, they're in that. It's funny, they're in almost a similar position that Green Bay was in at the end of the game last week, with Denver driving and a chip shot field goal, and a lot of that strategy came into play. How do you use your timeouts? In effect, Green Bay let Denver score last week to save time on the clock, and then the NFC finds itself almost in that same position right now.
Number 76 has reported as an eligible receiver.
I'm a believer in that you make the other team execute. You saw that the NFC couldn't execute, even the quarterback center exchange. I'd try to make a goal line stand here.
2nd and goal from the 1.
But I suspect we'll see another dose of Eddie George.
Big time.
Warren on his head. It's the sneak. Moon for 6. And with a 5-point lead, they will go for 2 here to try to extend it to 31-24. So the AFC at one point down by 14 and now up by 5.
It's a heck of a surge by the AFC offensive line. Moon easily into the end zone.
Made a little easier by the rules that keep you in a 4-3,
right,
even though the linebackers can get in a 3-point position.
Warren looking for Deuce, and that's the same play they tried to run before. Tim Brown, the intended receiver, and that's incomplete. The AFC, though, does score twice in 42 seconds to take the lead by 5.
Strange call. You're looking right back into the sun. That alone should make that a little bit prohibitive.
Well, Tim Brown never did make a cut to the outside. He's locked up with Aeneas Williams. And there's Kevin Gogan, who's made his way back to the NFC sidelines in street clothes. I'd like to be the security guard in charge of keeping him from getting where he wants to go.
Meanwhile, once again, plausibly live from the island of Oahu. The AFC up by 5, 29-24 with a 15-point fourth quarter here. It was 21-7 NFC at the half. A minute 49 seconds remaining now in the fourth quarter. The NFC has 2 timeouts.
Once again, $12,500 riding on the differential between the winner and the loser. For the coaches, $2,500.
Kickoff coverage unit here to keep that guy Michael Bates from getting off a good return. Again, keep in mind, guys aren't used to covering kickoffs. Let's see if the blockers for the NFC can get on somebody and stay there.
Meanwhile, the wind blew the ball off the tee for Hollis.
Hey, I don't know if that regular time.
Chandler ready to come back in. Breeze picking up again. The trade wind's blowing. Last time the AFC won 2 Pro Bowls in a row would have been in 1987 and 88, so it's been a full decade. Last year the AFC won it 8 minutes into overtime.
And Hollis having to kick right into the wind. We'll see if he can get any depth on this.
Spinning kick, fielded at the 9-yard line. Bates up past the 20 to take him down at the 29-yard line by Darrell Williams.
Good coverage.
To go 71 yards.
Pretty good coverage throughout the entire game. What you got is some great football players that could be on return teams and kickoff teams and special teams, but most of them don't. Well, most of them just don't do it. Too valuable.
71 yards to go in a minute 44 and 2 timeouts. Falcons was Chandler. Throws and it's knocked down at midfield. Knocked down by James Hasty. Hasty, 10 years in the league. First time he's been to the Pro Bowl.
And Chandler is not feeling all that well right now. He took a real shot by Derek Thomas. And there's nothing new about watching Derek Thomas drop a quarterback. But watch this right there. Thomas works back to the inside of Stussy, gets right into the chest of Chandler. And Chandler was really slow getting up.
Excellent play by Hasty.
And on 2nd down and 10. Chandler throws too high and into coverage. And it will be 3rd down and 10.
And Chris Chandler was really the last of the Pro Bowl players to get here to the islands. And he's had not a whole lot of work with this NFC squad. He has a limited playbook in a game that has a limited playbook. Steve Mariucci said we'll finalize just a few plays that he's comfortable in running, and we'll see what we can do with it. But Steve Young and Trent Dilfer are already sitting this one out.
He did not look comfortable on that last one.
3rd down and 10.
Here comes Smith.
Chandler loses the ball. It is a fumble.
That's Bruce.
And Bruce Smith was there with Chris Slade recovering it.
And now he's going to get kissed by Bill.
Bill is on the field again.
Bruce, you really look good at Pittsburgh.
Bruce coming off another great season for the Bills. His 10th Pro Bowl, 14 sacks this year. Always fighting the double coverage. He comes around the horn. He's done it so many times. Great presence of where he is. Dives, bats the ball away.
Now there's a guy who wanted his 12-5.
All right,
that's what we talk about, how it gets competitive at the end of a ball game.
The NFC on its last 3 possessions has lost the ball on 3 fumbles. And now the AFC in a position to take a good hunk of the clock down, but the NFC can stop it twice. So Warren Moon from the 30-yard line gives it to Eddie George, who just wants to stay in bounds. And he loses the football at the 27-yard line.
They're tackling the football on every play.
And the NFC has it.
Oh. Well, Bruce Smith, take that baseball cap off. Come on down.
It is John Lynch of the Buccaneers who recovers it.
Well, this is as sloppy an ending as we've seen in a while.
And prior to this, a good football game. Well played, few penalties, no turnovers.
Boy, Lynch did just put a hat right on the football. That was no accident. He laser-sighted that football and put his helmet right on it.
Big man, 6'2", 214 pounds, big hitter. In his first Pro Bowl. Actually here for Darren Woodson.
Now the NFC from the 26-yard line, 74 yards to go. Chandler, a little dump off, and that's incomplete, intended for Dunn.
Chandler's going, I'm sure glad I came over here. He's taking a good shot every time he has to drop back in the pocket.
And a reminder, the taking of column 1, 2, 3 coming up, except on the West Coast.
Promise you it won't leave the station until this game is over.
2nd and 10, a minute 8 to play from the 26-yard line. Chandler throws that one out of bounds, and it's 3rd down, and a flag comes in. The whole NFC bench saying, where's the flag? And Aaron Glenn gets the flag.
Well, Aaron Glenn and Chris Carter were about 4 yards out of bounds.
Now they'll discuss whether it was a catchable football.
I think he held him right there before they got out of bounds, and then he really worked him over.
Even in the somewhat softer interpretation of Pro Bowl rules, that's holding.
Illegal contact on the defense, number 31. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Of course, it's not that big a penalty with it just being 5 yards. But still plenty of time here. The NFC has a couple of timeouts left and over a minute. Well, we've seen safeties from both teams getting beat deep. You'd think that if Bill Cowher had told his team anything, is to get your safeties back there and don't give up anything down the middle of the football field.
What we're seeing there is a lot more pressure on the quarterbacks.
And Chandler trips, goes down back at his own 25-yard line.
Did he trip, or was he stepped on it? He pulled away from the center.
Couldn't tell.
That looked like it.
For his sake, I hope he was stepped on.
Let's watch the center. Does he get Chandler on the way back? Ooh, did he get him big time?
Mayberry, 2nd down and 10 now.
That's the quarterback's job to get out of the way.
And that pass is knocked down. James Hasty having a very active 4th quarter.
Is that not an offensive lineman?
No, hey, you've got your hands full as an offensive lineman trying to block some guy.
Dan,
you can't worry about where your feet are, Frank. The quarterback's got to get out of the way.
All right. I mean, that is a rule. The quarterback has to avoid that, correct?
Well, absolutely. What's Mayberry supposed to do? Block a guy with his feet off the ground?
3rd down and 10.
Centers need all the breaks they can get.
Chandler runs it into traffic, and that's incomplete. Trying to jam it into Chris Carter. And that'll make it 4th down. 4th and 15. They will name a player of the game, a most valuable player, but the announcement has not been made yet, with the outcome still somewhat in doubt.
Is Dennis Crawford eligible?
He might be. The $1 million kicker.
That'll buy a lot of Hershey's Kisses.
4th and 15 now, and we have
unabated.
Yep, an unabated situation. Derek Thomas. Unless he was induced.
Then it would be an unabated false start.
To the quarterback defense, number 58. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Last 2 minutes of this game moving along at a lightning pace.
You're right. Not a badly played game for about the first 55 minutes.
It only got sloppy when it got intense.
Yep, exactly. They ratcheted it up a little bit, and we've had nothing but fumbles and guys tripping over each other.
This game has hit some headwinds and will be late into the term.
That's right. Stopping for a refueling job along the way. 4th and 10 at the 31. And Chandler trying to keep the drive alive, and that pass is incomplete, intended for Irving Fryer. And so the AFC will be able now to run out the clock with 22 seconds left.
Unless they fumble again.
Yes, unless they fumble. And procure a second consecutive victory.
A whole lot of congratulating going on in midfield already.
Right. Well, the NFC could elect to use its 2 timeouts, but don't count on it. And we are being told now that Mr. Warren Moon is going to be named the most valuable player of the Pro Bowl, leading them to 2 touchdowns in 42 seconds, both coming after fumble recoveries by Seattle Seahawks. In fact, Michael Sinclair and Darrell Williams, his teammates. And as we wrap this one up, and we talked about it at the half, Warren Moon with a kneel down. Frank, it has been a slice of heaven.
Indeed.
Wonderful.
Great run. I've enjoyed it. And I look forward to throwing it to you from New York on pregame next year. I'll get a chance to stay home a little bit more than I've done over the past 27 years. 600 games so
that is the end of the ball game.
Not a bad way to wind it up.
Thank you, Frank.
I wish you well. And Boomer Esiason, great guy. He'll fit in beautifully, and I know he'll carry on the kind of work that the guys in the past have.
Just from the two of us, thank you. From everybody who ever watched Monday Night Football, thank you.
And we will wrap it up from Honolulu after